What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Henley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Henley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Henley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Henley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, friends and family? I appreciate y'all. Put together the live stream a little later than usual today because I had to do some running around and taking care of business. But we here. K. Cooper, don't be trying to figure out what's going on. What's up, friends? How y'all feeling today? Is everything good? Everything is awesome. I'm figuring it out. The Hornets is coming to Detroit. Yeah, that'll be interesting. K. Cooper says, I missed you yesterday. I missed y'all too. I had to make sure that baby girl was taken care of. So shout out to everybody that held it down, and we back. And so I want to get away from having to do makeup shows. That's the goal. I want to get away from having to do makeup shows. I want to make sure that we taking care of business. All right. So how y'all feeling today? How does it feel when we don't stream? I don't want y'all getting used to that. All right. I don't want y'all getting used to that. This needs to be the norm. This needs to be our norm all day, every day. What's going on, friends? Yeah, even my boss was like, your boy not live today. Oh. Hey, AD, how do you feel to be an old blessed man? KP says top of the day, Detroit in 5. I think it's Detroit in 4, but that's all right. We'll give you 5. We'll give it 5. Wednesday night show. Yeah, that was popping. Shout out to A Dunn. I appreciate you. Feeling amazing. Did arms today, of course. Listening to the Wednesday show. That was a good show. I thought it was a great show. Let me see what else is happening in the chat. Definitely not ideal, but we sacrifice together. The goal is to get old. What up, though, says Chris. What up, Goddess? I see y'all. Let me see. Rock says, good morning. I just focus on your other channels. My coworkers asked me too. After hours had me cracking up towards the end. God bless and great day to AD, all of the bag chasers, and the whole Millionaire Morning Show. Yeah, man. Housekeeping. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off of life. And if y'all are not a part of the Patreon, make sure you are a Patreon in the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I suspect that because usually this is how it happens. In the beginning of the year, it's slow, and then around the end of winter / springtime, it picks up a lot when it comes to a lot of news, a lot of content, stuff like that. And then in the summertime, it gets a little slow. The summertime is going to separate the weak from the real. And the reason why the summertime separates content creators is because people want to be outside, and so they'd rather sacrifice their platform and their shows to make sure that they head outside and that they can go out and do what they want to do. It's hard to recover from that, especially when you build the momentum. So, I get it. And so those are the times that I leverage the most when it gets warm outside, spring, summer, June, July, August, all of that. You get it popping. People want to start ramping back up when it comes to the fall because that's when the big money comes. As far as advertisers, shows, people spending a lot of money heading into the holiday season, and then you do the cycle all over again. Yeah, I don't slow down. I don't miss. And even when we do miss, we do a makeup because we missing because of something that we can't control and not because of something that, just because we feeling like we want to go out. So that's kind of how the flow go. Beginning of the year, advertisers slow down, so people then slow down because a lot of content creators get discouraged, and then it starts ramping up in the spring. People want to go outside in the summer, and so they slow down on that. Everybody try to hit it during the fall, into summer, fall going into winter because it's the holiday seasons. A lot of advertising ramp up, and then people try to finish the year as strong as possible. During the holiday season, though, like around Christmas, towards the end of Christmas, most content creators fall off. And then that's when you see the separation between people. You know what I'm saying? So I got my friends here working in the background, so don't never mind them. You ain't gotta be quiet. Do your thing.
I'm just listening.
So they working in the background and taking care of the place and making sure everything is as clean as possible. And we gonna do what we do. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to go ahead and get into the show? I think we should go ahead and start off with the politics. I need a good CPA in the Metro Detroit area. I don't think that what you getting done, AD? What you mean? What am I getting done? As far as like the place, I was just cleaning, like deep cleaning, general cleaning, kitchen floors, bathrooms, all of that type of stuff. I got you, Aaron Miller. My baby girl got sick yesterday. What was I supposed to do? She was throwing up and all of that stuff, and so I had to make sure that I was on point. And we had stuff that was scheduled. Had to drop off the TRX at different places or whatever, and I didn't want her running around and all of that. So we had to make sure that she was good, man. Yeah. David getting arrested. I missed the last few shows. Got to catch up. We're gonna cover all of that. It's so much to cover. So over the next couple of days, over the next couple of shows, because I am doing a show on the weekend too. Over the next couple of shows, she's feeling a lot better. Over the next couple of shows, we're gonna be trying to cover everything, because it's a lot of news. All right. Y'all ready to get started with the show? You got yard work to do? Nah, no yard work for Time Dog. We don't do yard work. That's why I work really hard. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. The first thing that I want to cover is the Strait of Hormuz. All right. Over in the Strait of Hormuz, Trump is basically declaring victory because he's saying that him and Iran is saying that the strait is completely open, which ultimately affecting oil prices because oil prices are now completely collapsing. But we'll get into that shortly.
Hi, Martha. Iran was reportedly asking for a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon as part of its requirements for some type of peace deal with the United States. Now that the president announced that 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon yesterday, moments ago, the foreign minister of Iran announced that the Strait of Hormuz, behind me in the distance in the Persian Gulf, is declared completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire. So, things apparently on the upswing here in the Gulf. Weekend report here in the UAE. There's been about a week of calm now. No incoming missiles or drones from Iran after weeks and weeks of almost endless attacks coming from Iran. Also, the U.S. State Department ended its shelter-in-place order for U.S. government employees in this country. Obviously, the State Department urging people to still take shelter if needed. And then, of course, behind me in the Gulf, we're on day 5 now of the U.S. blockade that apparently has been going down without any reported incident or major confrontation. In fact, CENTCOM says at least 14 vessels have heeded the United States commands to either turn back to the ports of Iran or not violate their blockade. Now, the latest update from CENTCOM also says that they've been escorting people around the blockade, and here's some audio that the United States released.
Motor vessel Molly, this is Warship 112. We will be escorting you to your next port of call. Thank you for your cooperation. This is Warship 112, standing by at channel 16.
And yesterday, the president announced that 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel. In an update from Israel minutes ago, an official says the IDF remains in Lebanon to hold all the locations it has cleared and captured. The IDF writing, the goal we defined, the disarmament of Hezbollah through military or political means, was and remains the campaign's objective to which we are committed. Currently, significant political leverage has been created through the direct involvement of the U.S. president and a commitment to this goal while applying pressure to the Lebanese government. Now, here in the United Arab Emirates, the U.S. State Department lifted that shelter-in-place warning for U.S. government workers, and the UAE is declaring victory over Iran. An official writing here, yes, Iran lost, and yes, the UAE won. We were subjected to more than 2,800 Iranian missiles and drones, and we shot down 96% of them. The American role after this war will be greater. This Emirati and Gulf partnership with Washington came after long years of relations, mutual trust, and joint investments. Now, back live here on the Gulf, we are, of course, monitoring the potential for a second round of peace talks, perhaps in Pakistan this weekend. Yesterday, the president said that those negotiations could be happening in Pakistan, and he even said there's a possibility that he may head there, but we'll continue to see what happens, because now that Iran has apparently relinquished its self-proclaimed control over the Strait of Hormuz, perhaps these peace talks do not have to happen in Pakistan, but we are tracking it hour by hour, and we'll keep you updated. Martha?
So now Democrats, liberals, even people that were rhinos, Republicans in name only, because listen, there's a lot of rhinos. I know that it doesn't seem that way. I know it's a lot of people that like to pretend like, oh no, we voted Republican and this is what we stood for. They did it because it was popular to do at the time. They did it because it was popular to do at the time. And so y'all so spoiled, and whereas it's always war and turmoil and issues and problems in mostly every other place in the world, we have experienced so much peace for so long that we get a little bit spoiled. We get a little bit spoiled. And because so many other presidents has basically kicked the can down the road, and they haven't solved for a lot of the things that they should have solved for, and it could be solved for in a month, 2 months, or whatever, Trump is the one that actually executes on that. And then people jump off the bandwagon because they don't want to face a little bit of pushback from people that may disagree with them. And so they switch sides conveniently, depending on what's popular to do at the moment. And if you ask them to stand tall for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, then they jump ship, and then they move in a completely different direction. And then at some point they regret it, but they'll never openly say it or admit that they're regretting jumping ship. It happens as far as, how people look at things politically. It happens in real life. It happens when it comes to business. It happens when it comes to everything. People switch up all the time. And so now the strait is completely open. Oil prices is collapsing. The stock market is exploding, which, what is Anton always saying? Anton says, hey, listen, Don't make a move based off of how you feel or the news emotionally. That is why we keep the North Star, and we invest based off of how we see things in 10 years, not in 10 days, not even in 10 months. We don't care about what's happening today. The only thing we care is how it feeds into what is going to happen in next year and in 10 years from now, right? So it's easy for me to stand tall on what I believe a person is supposed to be, or even to continue to back the Republican Party and Trump, because I believe that the decisions that he's making is going to benefit the United States of America long term. I'm not focused on whether or not gas prices shot up 20 cents, 30 cents a gallon in the interim. Okay, I can make an adjustment. I've seen worse. I actually went through 2008. So gas prices was up for a few weeks. And all of a sudden, listen, if gas prices cost for you to get evicted over the last month, if 1 month of gas prices being adjusted 20, 30 cent, 40 cent, 50 cent a gallon at the pump, if that is the thing that got you evicted, you was already in trouble. You was in trouble a long time ago. I'm pretty sure that the prices at the pump is not the determining factor for whether or not your finances collapsed. You was already on your way. We just went ahead and just kicked you on over the curb. If you were able to turn on Trump within the last month, if you were able to turn on a Republican Party within the last month, you was never in it in the first place. You did it because it was popular to do, and you thought that everything was going to go bad, and so as a result, you switched sides. If a tweet was the determining factor for whether or not you were still aligned with the party and the thing that we're doing, you forget about every other thing. You forget about what happened to Lake and Riley. You forget about how it is that we making sure that the illegal migrants is getting up out of here. You forget about how they getting fraud up out of there. You forgot about how it is that they made sure that the big, beautiful bill got funded and passed. You forgot about, them rolling back the restrictions and the requirements in order for them to get gas engines back in. You forgot about everything that happened within the last year and some change, and you let 3 weeks turn you. You was never there in the first place. You were never a part of the crew in first place. You know who you are? You the little thing in 300 that wanted Leonidas to let them fight, and he gave them, and he told him, he said, listen, my young lad, the way that we hold our shields is the determining factor for whether or not the entire group get killed. So we can't do that for you, but we need you to clear the field, clear the battlefield if you really want to help. And because you couldn't be a soldier because you was the weak link, you went and traded in order to try to get the whole group finessed. That's who you are. There are so many fair weather fans, fly-by-night rhinos, people that switch sides. Even when it came to bigger content creators and YouTuber and political pundits, I don't care how big their platforms are. They switch sides. The Megyn Kellys, the Tucker Carlsons. Tucker's still butthurt because the word is, and I don't know how true it is, so it can't be substantiated. So I'm just going to say allegedly. We're just going to put that out there. Allegedly, he was promising the Iranian regime and the leaders, the supreme leaders, and that's one of the reasons why they all gathered and they all got executed on. Trump used him and leveraged him in order to execute Order 66 on Iran in order to solve for this problem and go ahead and put it to bed in the first place. So Tucker Carlson is, word on the street is, Tucker is still butthurt at Trump because he was promising something that he couldn't keep a promise for. And so he was playing both sides to get himself some more credibility and visibility. And Trump was like, we don't care nothing about what you're talking about. We doing what's best for America. And so you got a lot of people that was playing both sides. They leveraged MAGA, they leveraged Trump, they leveraged the visibility that came along with aligning themselves with Trump. And as soon as the election is over, they're looking for the first wave to jump ship because they still want to play both sides. Mob Untied. Shout out to All-Star JR. Ephialtes. That was his name. Yes, Ephialtes was the name of the hunchback inside of 300. That's really what you see. And so now we got the strait back open, ceasefire popping. This is the blueprint or the foundation that they're laying in order to ultimately divest themselves from this operation in the first place. Congress is still spiraling. Everybody is still crashing out. And watch how many people try to secretly, slowly ease their way back into it and say, you know what? I was just critical. It wasn't really that big of a deal. I was critical because I didn't like the way that he put out that Truth Social post. The greatest threat to America is not the Democrat Party, Green. Nope, that is a lie. The greatest threat to America is the people that are pretending to be conservative and pretending to be Republican, but they really not playing either side. And so those are the people that you got to watch. When you think about life, your enemies are your enemies. You know who they are. You know where they stand. You know how you got to watch them. We not worried about the enemies. Even God said it's better to be hot or cold, but don't be lukewarm. I spit you out of my mouth, right? The people that you know are your ops, you know where they are. You know how to move around them. You always can plan for them. And you can even somewhat respect them because they are who they are and they stand on what they stand on. And sometimes y'all can even come to an impasse, or y'all might even be able to solve for the problem that y'all have between each other because it's out in the open and it's clear. This is where I stand. This is where you stand. This is how we moving. Those are not the people that you got to worry about. The people that you got to worry about is the ones that get close to you, that pretend like they're your friends, and then they switch up when it's convenient. Nobody is worried about Democrats. We pray that Democrats send out a Kamala Harris to run for president. We're praying for the Democrats to send out a Gavin Newsom to run for president. Nobody is afraid of that. Nobody is afraid of that. The thing that you have to worry about is the people that you don't know. You don't know who the mole is. You don't know who the person inside of your circle that's really setting you up. It's just the truth. It's just the facts.
Bill.
Yeah, very interesting statement from the Dubai media office there. Thanks for sharing that with us, Matt Fenn.
Yeah, a lot of things popping by the hour. Just on the map over here, we're just taking it back to the Persian Gulf. This has been the area of the interest, really, for the entire world for the past 48 days. I want to show you this on the map now. These are the vessels in the Persian Gulf, all right? So in red, since the start of the war, these are the vessels that have been basically at a standstill in the Gulf, off the coast of Basra in Iraq, off the coast of Kuwait, many off of Saudi Arabia. Look how much they're bunched up around the United Arab Emirates. I mean, just so many of these ships have been stuck here. I want to swing over here and show you the impact of the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports. The blockade's only been in place for a couple of days, and right now you can argue this has been a success so far. This is Monday of this week, right? April 13th. This is Oman. Here is Iran, here is Pakistan, and here is the line that the U.S. Navy drew for all vessels coming in and out of Iranian ports. All these vessels in red, they made a stop at an Iranian port for something, and the blue ships are the Navy blockade out here in the Gulf of Oman. Also a bit later on the same day, on Monday, you saw more red ships come out this way. That means they stopped at an Iranian port for something. They were all turned back. That was on Monday. Then on Tuesday, a similar pattern. The red ships, the vessels coming across that blockade line. In total, by the end of the day on Tuesday, we had at least 14 vessels that have been stopped by the U.S. Navy. And that's where we stand right now, at a stalemate. Former CIA Station Chief Dan Hoffman joins us now. Dan, good morning to you. I want to get your reaction on the breaking news. How do you analyze what we're hearing out of Tehran now?
I think that statement about the Strait of Hormuz is a significant confidence-building measure. It's the first steps, potentially, for a framework whereby we dial down our military involvement and get to the stage where we can have real diplomatic negotiations. We've started that process, but the negotiations, I think, are going to be painstaking. I don't have any hope that there's going to be an immediate agreement, but there is the potential for the framework for an agreement, whereby we see free passage through the Strait of Hormuz and the corresponding impact on the global economy and our economy here at home.
Dan, you know, what do you think pushed us to this point? I mean, it's pretty clear that Iran has figured out, at least for one thing, as I see it, that they're choking off their own economy, that they have hurt themselves by trying to control the Strait of Hormuz, and that this blockade has been very successful in terms of isolating them.
Yeah, I think the blockade has been successful. I do think Iran has a high threshold for pain, especially when it comes to Iranian citizens. This regime obviously has no problem with violating their human rights and making their lives miserable. But what I think was hanging in the balance was a resumption of U.S. kinetic strikes. And what I think Iran really wants is a continuation of the ceasefire while negotiations carry on. I think that's what they really want. Now, the Trump administration delivered our own confidence building measure by bringing Israel and Lebanon together for the first time in almost 50 years for a 10-day ceasefire, which was something that Iran wanted. So these are positive steps, but I think it's still tenuous. We need to see how transport actually happens today at the Strait of Hormuz, but there's reason for some guarded optimism right now.
There's no, just quickly, Dan, there's no indication that the movement has happened in terms of this uranium.
For all commercial vessels. We're just learning this right now. Let me read where we are getting this from X. The foreign minister saying, in line with the ceasefire in Lebanon, the passage for all commercial vessels through the Strait of Hormuz is declared completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire on coordinated routes as already announced by ports and maritime organizations of the Islamic Republic of Iran. But this is a huge announcement coming from the Iranian foreign minister about what has become a central part of the negotiation, getting the Strait.
Sorry, I was muted. I said, somebody asked, can we go over and see CNN's version of it? Absolutely. That's what I'm doing. We going over to CNN and we're getting what they had to say about the whole Strait of Hormuz opening from it.
Strait of Hormuz open and safely. And so we're going to bring you much more as we get this in, literally coming in as we're talking about. As we are getting this, we also have a new report that claims the United States is also considering a $20 billion deal that would help to end the conflict. This is a report from Axios, co-written also by CNN political and global affairs analyst Barak Ravid. Let me read a quote from this reporting now coming in. The U.S. and Iran are negotiating over a 3-page plan to end the war, with one element under discussion being that the U.S. would release $20 billion in frozen Iranian funds in return for Iran giving up its stockpile of enriched uranium. This, according to 2 U.S. officials and 2 additional sources briefed on the talk.
What more do y'all want from him? What more do you want from Trump? Huh? What else do you want from this guy? Has he not given you everything that you needed? Has he not given you everything that you wanted? Has he not solved for every problem that you see as a problem within our culture? Is he not working exactly for who you need, what you need to be done inside of the United States? Huh? Is he not basically giving you world peace? What else do you want from him? Somebody said 20 billion, that's way more than Obama unfroze. I didn't know that Obama had froze anything. I thought that Obama had gave 1.7 billion of our money. See, it's a difference between giving somebody money and unfreezing money that they already had and said, listen, if you want your money back, then this is what's going to have to happen. What else do you want from them? fixing countries over in Africa, freeing the people over in Venezuela, stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, and making sure and ensuring that all of our partners over in the Middle East is going to have peace for a long time to come, eliminating the ability for them to gain a nuclear weapon, leveraging tariffs against China, allowing for Russia to continue to crush itself. What more do you want from him? What more do you want from him? What do you want? Now, I know that there's going to be people that's trying to figure out how they can get a consolation prize in these conversations because they automatically predicted the downfall of the United States of America. Of course they are. Of course they are. I know that there are people that's on the liberal side of things that support men and women's bathrooms and men and women's sports that want to see Trump fail, but he's just breaking your heart. I know he's breaking your heart. It's breaking your heart. I know it hurts you. It hurts you that you get to benefit from Trump doing great things for the United States. Yeah, I'm looking at the jump in the market right now. It's not too late to ever switch sides to actually be on the side of America. It's never too late. See, I never wavered because I knew what I voted for. I know what I'm asking for. I know what I advocated for. Y'all just like a bunch of females that's in their emotions. Just like a bunch of females that's in their emotions. You see a little bit of wave and they, oh my God, I got to figure it out. Oh my God, I got to jump ship. And the captain of the ship is saying, hey, listen, chill out. We supposed to go through the waves. What you think that you was going to travel across the entire ocean and it wasn't going to be a wave or two? That's a part of the game. But what I've learned in my lifetime is that waves are a way to see which one is on shaky ground. Like who really is because you thought that this was going to just be easy going. I've learned in my life in general that waves are not a bad thing. It's the way that you see who really scared and who ready to jump ship. Get on an enemy vessel in order to save themselves. Waves are a way to see who's willing to drown the whole ship just to try to save themselves. Who really didn't believe. The only thing that they really believed was that it was never going to be no waves and it was going to be easy sailing. But the ship goes on and the bag goes on and the success goes on. It's just happening like that. It happens like that. And so, you know, it's a blessing. Waves are a blessing. It's a blessing. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Shout out to DJT, Donald Drake, J Trump, running it up, getting the bag, doing the thing that's in the best interest of America. I think that this is the framework ultimately that leads to the success of us in this whole operation and secures your freedom, people in the Middle East. Ultimately, it secures our future and makes sure that the proxy wars that's continuing to be fought weakens our enemies, weakens our adversaries. Let me go ahead and acknowledge some of the early super chats and cash appers. I know people be waking up and seeing the news like, oh man, Trump won again. Hurt they heart, hurt they feelings. Mike, that dude, shout out to my dog, Mike, that dude. I appreciate you. First of all, let me go all the way back. Shout out to Heather. Shout out to Heather. I appreciate you, Heather. Mike, that dude. Shout out to you. Spencer Campbell, what up, though? What up, Spencer Campbell? Melvin Johnson, I appreciate you, Melvin Johnson. Thank you, my friend, for holding me down. Let me see what else we got going on here. James Perry, no, that's not James Perry. All right. Mario says, Mario DJ Complex NC says the Hive is a live AD Buzz City Hornets. In fact, now you don't even believe that. you don't even believe that. You don't believe that Charlotte in any way, shape, or form is going to be able to stand up to the United States. Oh, I'm sorry, the Detroit Pistons. We like the U.S., y'all are Iran. We're the U.S., y'all are Iran. Remember the last game we played where we beat y'all by 18? It's going to get ugly. And listen, don't try to pull our legs to make us get injured like y'all did Bam Adebayo. Don't do none of that. Hornets in 5. Okay. Interesting. A76 Vlog says, appreciate the live stream. Big Dog definitely will keep me company on his 5-hour drive to Arizona. Yeah. Chicago 1288 said, exactly. They, the people on the right, let the media play the mental psyop on them. Can't believe y'all just got finessed. The Jew says, I appreciate the fact that you've never switched up on Trump through good and bad times, unlike some people on your panels. Hope you bag an interview with them someday. Chris Cunningham says, who are you? Your Bible game is strong. Shout out to my dog, Chris Cunningham. Long Way ENT got a couple of super chats. Says, AD, I'm about to send you my proof of income so you can tell Slimmy to release my bag chaser hat. Chris Cunningham says, are you not entertained? Is that not why you're here? Spaniard. America are the Knicks. You know that. Heck no. Listen. If America is the Knicks and the Dallas Cowboys is America's team, I think that's a bad representation of America. Because neither one of those teams have won anything in a long time. Since they was the Knickerbockers. Heck no. America need a new team then. Nola Grid says, watching my DCA in stocks and crypto take off. Sacrifice is going to pay big time. Bear market is over. Yo, AD, you hitting up that Kentucky Derby? I emailed you. I don't know. I got to look at the dates. It's so much going on. Honestly, I'm trying to finish up these houses. I'm going to keep it 100 on y'all, bro. Like, it's a lot of stuff that I want to do that I don't think that I'm going to have the capacity to do because I have so much on my plate that I'm focused on that's actually going to benefit long term. I'm playing a long game right now, bro. The only thing I'm buying for myself is my car. That's the only big purchase that I'm making this year for myself. Other than that, everything else is investments, stocks, real estate. I would say that easily 95% of my income goes to real estate. 95 right now, 95 of my income is going to real estate. I got 3 different projects that's happening all at the same time, and I have 0 financing. I have zero. I have 0 loans from banks. Everything is 100% out of pocket. Everything is 100% out of pocket. And so 95 of my income is going to projects. And then I got new projects. I got 2 new permits that I'm in the process of pulling right now for newer projects. And then I got a really big project that I'm trying to stack for. And that's going to be my first commercial apartment building. But I haven't really announced that because I ain't talking about that yet. I got to finish securing the property itself. That's a lot of money. It's 6 figures just to buy the land. And then we going to build on it. So everything that I'm doing right now this year, probably over the next year and a half, is locked in. Like I have my next year and a half is locked in on projects. So that's what I'm doing. Everything is business. It's 100% business. And I know that I could, do it differently, but it's important that I do 100% all in. I don't want nobody to have no equity in nothing that I got going on. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Everything is tumultuous, right? If it's not a business trip or if it's not something with regard to my family or my daughter, then it's always going to come second to my schedule and what I got going on when it comes to business. Moses King says, what more do you want from me in my Tyrese Gibson voice? Shout out to Moses King. Marlo Reed in the building says, what's up? Man, you. It's us. We up, man. We up. He said, that's foolish. What's foolish? Tell me what's foolish before we go into. It's good, but it's also foolish. OQ, what's foolish? Tell me what's foolish. Explain it to me before we get into this next. I want to go into Justin Fairfax. I want to go into the David case. We got a lot to cover. I'm going to go into MAMDANI. What's foolish? Tell me what's foolish. Elmont says 95% the property. Sheesh got to lock in. It depends on what you want out of it. It's foolish for me to leverage my own money. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people say this to me that have no clue. Zero clue whatsoever. Zero clue whatsoever. Sometimes I wish that people would be willing to have a business conversation and jump on a panel and tell me why it's crazy for me to leverage my own money to invest in real estate. Using your own cash and stretch too thin. Interesting. Well, listen, I know that y'all are smarter than me, that y'all are richer than me, that y'all have been able to run up a bag bigger than mine. And so thank you for the insight. But respectfully, I am going to keep doing it the way that I've been doing it. What's risky about it? What exactly is risky about it? You want to come up and tell me what's risky about it? I'll drop the link if you want to, because I don't want to waste my time and say I'm gonna drop the link and then he doesn't actually hit the link. So if you want to hit the link and tell me what's risky about it, I'm more than welcome to be able to drop the link. But if you're not interested, because you say your portfolio is M's, my portfolio is M's. So I would love for you to teach me what's risky about me making that investment. I'm a student of the game. This isn't me pushing back. This is me being open to somebody teaching me something that maybe I don't know. You want to come up and teach me what it is that I'm doing wrong? No, I didn't say I'm rich and you're not. I don't know anybody. I'm gonna call you back. I'm on a live stream now. All right, bye. What do you need? Oh, okay. I'm about to drop the link so you can tell me. This is specifically, you'll come up for, oh yeah, this is specifically for OQ. Boom, 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 boom. What's risky is about me talking about your Knicks. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. I dropped the link for them, but y'all gonna have to give grace. Like y'all can't listen. Y'all gotta stop being so skeptical. If somebody said that they got M's, take it at face value unless they tell you otherwise or they show you otherwise. Maybe sometimes somebody can teach you something and tell you something that you don't know. So this isn't a debate. This isn't me pushing back. This isn't any of that. Y'all got to allow for people to be able to say and get their stuff off so that maybe they can teach us something that we didn't know. It's not always about being haughty. It's not always about a competition or a debate. Sometimes it's about getting insight so you can make a better decision and maybe you can take into consideration what they say. So I'm not bringing him up here because, oh man, we don't believe you and none of that type of stuff. I'm bringing him up here because I want to hear something that somebody has to say that thinks differently as far as my investment strategy. I know why I use cash or why I put my own money up. Maybe he can tell me something different that I don't know. I'm going to drop the link for you again. Y'all got to give grace until somebody says otherwise. Then it's like, oh man, see, I shouldn't. But wait and observe. There's nothing wrong with waiting and listening to what somebody has to say. I don't know how much longer I can wait. I mean, you told me to drop the link in the chat, so I dropped the link in the chat. So, can I bring you up on camera? Okay. What's up, big dog?
What's going on, man? What's
Chilling.
going
How
on?
you feel, bro?
I'm good. Listening to you. You be bugging, man.
I'm bugging? How am I bugging?
You ain't bugging, but you be bugging. I feel like you got cash to do big deals, right?
Right. But wait, why am I bugging though?
You're not bugging. You be only bugging when you say, think about your audience.
Okay.
People who's not in a position to have,
Okay.
hundreds of thousands or whatever.
It's a lot of people that actually are, but go ahead. I feel you.
Yeah, there's some but some low key, some can't. They want to get into real estate, but they can't.
Mm-hmm.
When you say F the banks, don't leverage the banks, I don't agree with that because if they starting off, that could be their first investor.
Mm-hmm.
Their job could be their first investor.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree with you on that.
Right. So, and I know you do. I know you know this. So just to say, oh, F the banks. I mean, I feel like you speaking from a position where you already in the game.
I am.
Them starting off, they could use the banks. They could use small little lenders and stuff like that.
Here's the thing, though. No. All right.
We're going to get to your building, too.
Okay, so here's the
I'm
thing.
in the back. I got my fam in there. So.
Well, you're cool. I'm with you. So here's the thing, though. The context is, and this is the thing that I tell people inside of my Patreon is
that way, hold on. That's what I be wanting you to give, the context, because I know you know.
I don't give the context on a regular show because I'm not giving that type of game out to regular people. The people that want
I
to
hear
learn
you.
and the people that want the additional insight, I break it down and I say that it's multiple different ways that you can make money in real estate. One of the reasons why I don't leverage banks is because I have to get rid of the money, right?
Understand that from a tax perspective.
Correct.
100%.
So I'm
I
looking to
get
get
that.
rid of money because of the high income that I make in other areas. I'm not looking to make money from real estate. The asset is more important than the generating of a revenue. So I'm not as focused on doors as a lot of people are focused on doors, because a lot of people that are focused on doors are more focused on leveraging the banks and leveraging debt in order to acquire more doors, but that doesn't necessarily translate into revenue because they're not
Facts.
really calculating how much money that they make, that they're generating versus how much money that they're spending. And they're not calculating the risk of, because, we all know the hard money, the real estate money, the amount of money that it takes, plus property taxes, insurance, and all of that stuff. And then the acquisition costs and the carrying costs. If you don't have a renter, or if you have a squatter, or you got to get rid of somebody,
Mhm.
they're not really calculating the real costs of acquiring doors using bank money, right? But I don't have to use bank money because I generate revenue and I need to lower my tax burden. So my strategy is a lot different when it comes to real estate versus
I know that too.
that's
I know
getting
you're. I know you're you trying to get rid. You got to get rid of the money at this point.
right.
But when I be listening, I'll be like, Anton, somebody starting off, they could use them banks. They could use them credit unions. They could use
They
them
can,
hard money.
but they
Because I
got to be
started that
careful.
way.
They
I
got to
started
be
that way.
careful. A lot of the
Yes,
people that
yes,
use
yes.
hard
True,
money
true, true,
are
true.
flippers.
If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't even got some cash to start off, don't just jump on the hard money because you paying interest, you paying the carrying costs. You
Correct.
already know.
Yep.
So that's my only gripe. I'll be like, man,
Well,
they
you're
can
not
start
wrong.
there.
But that's why I was telling the people in the chat that you got to wait to see what people say, because the context is the thing that matters, right? You're not
Yeah,
wrong,
100%.
right? And that it is okay to use the bank's money to get started. But then what your strategy is depends on what your life circumstances is. If you're making money, a lot of money outside of real estate, but real estate is just another investment vehicle, you may not necessarily need to continue to use those same lenders to continue to
Yeah.
build your business. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
you don't. You could cut them off at a point. You could transition to private money. I already know you know that game.
Yep.
I don't. When I say that, I'm saying if somebody came to me and they was like, "Yo, Irv, I want to get into doing this, doing that," but I ain't got no cash. That's
Right.
most of our problems coming from the hood, whatever.
Yep.
I would say, you can use private money. You can start with somebody in your family that you might know got some bread or whatever. You could use the bank if you got good credit. Now you got to make sure you got good credit. I ain't saying that's what you stay with.
Mhm.
Use them to come up off them, do whatever, and then make your move out of that. When you say you ain't got no loans, that's the holy grail. We all working for that. But
Yeah.
to start off, that ain't gonna be everybody. That
No,
ain't
I
gonna be
agree with
everybody.
you.
So when I said you right, but it's foolish, let's get into the apartments now.
But
Commercial.
why do you say that it's risky though?
I don't think it's risky at all. It's only risk if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
I don't think you don't know what you're doing. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Now, if you going into apartment buildings and commercial property like you is, Anton, I know you want to be all in on your own, and you could, but you stretching yourself thin for no reason. Why? Just to say you could just make the term shorter if you want to get out of the deal quicker.
Well, it
You could
depends on
just
how
use
you're
them
doing the deal,
for
though. It depends on how
if
you're
you're
doing the
trying to
deal.
if
If
structure.
you owning it, well, it depends, right? So the way I look at it is two ways that you can approach this commercial, right?
Mm,
Because if you're building it up, all right, if you're buying something or you're fixing something up and you're just increasing the value of it to take the equity out of it and then ultimately sell it so you can get out with a bag, that's one thing. If you're
there.
removing a risk and you putting your own money up, because it's not like I'm taking away from something else, right? I don't have no risk because I don't have no debt. I'm not in danger of losing anything. It's really just a matter of when, not if. So my thing is, if I put my own money up because I'm looking at this as a long-term asset, I'm not looking to sell. I'm looking to own it for a long time.
Mm.
Then I don't see why that's a limit. I
It's
don't see
not.
what a risk
It's
is.
not. But You're saying you're going to keep it forever. Your
Well, not
long-term plan
maybe
is
not
to.
forever. I mean, I don't know if you keep any
I don't think
asset
you is.
forever,
I don't think
right?
you is. Somebody
But
gonna come with the
plan
right
on
number on
keeping
your
it.
portfolio.
I plan
You
on
gonna
keeping
let
it
it
at
go.
least 10 years.
You said at least 10 years?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah, for sure, that's reasonable. 10 years. But
yeah.
let's say when you like you 40 something now. So let's
44.
say when you 50, 60, you chilling, your feet up, you don't want to be landlording. And that's another topic that we could go into, the landlord thing.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm just
But
saying, like,
I'm landlording right now.
yeah, but are you physically landlording or are you just hiring it out to a management
No, I don't
company?
have a management company. What we do is because well, first of all, building them new and having relatively newer properties, I don't have any maintenance issues at all, right? I don't really have to have
Right
a break.
now, you don't.
Correct.
Right now, you
That's
don't.
why I was saying that I plan on keeping them for at least 10 years before rolling them over and then moving into a different asset class because I don't want the long-term maintenance once the properties start to wear and you start to have breakdown issues and you start to have all of those issues or whatever, right? But the other side of it though is we don't really have any problems with any tenants whatsoever. Like I don't really have no maintenance calls
That's
like that.
great.
If I do
It's
get
all
a
in the
maintenance
screener.
call, I'll just call out, a separate contractor to go solve for that issue in particular. I'm not giving up a percentage of my rents for a
I get you.
maintenance company. It don't make sense. I don't
Not in the beginning
really
either.
have no problems like
Yours
that.
is brand new. Yours is
Yeah,
brand new.
for the most part, most of it is brand new.
What I was saying was, let's say if you got 20, 30 houses, brand new, you built them brand new.
Mhm.
And I was saying from the position, why don't you turn it into seller finance and maybe in that 10 years? Now that I'm hearing that, it makes more sense to do that in 10 years. Because when you now need to maintenance those properties,
Mhm.
let's say these tenants been in there for that long and
Mhm.
they like, hey, I might want to buy it. Now you switch them over to seller finance and now you hands off when it comes to the maintenance. You're just a
But then
bank
that
now.
means that I am the
That's when
bank.
I say you're truly the bank.
Yeah.
But that's a
I don't
longer play
I
down the
don't know what
line
the
if
benefits
they're
of the
brand
seller
new now.
financing though is. I mean, what's the difference
It's
if I'm getting 100% on the
wait,
rent?
hold on. Those are just coin
Yeah,
phrase, like rent to own, seller finance. All that is if I got a property, I put somebody in there and I'm basically seller finance. I'm financing they don't have the money to pay for it right now. So they
right.
put down 10, 20 grand, whatever.
Mhm.
Just like you would do with a bank. You're
I know.
actually the bank at that point. You ain't calling them. They ain't calling you for no problems or nothing. You just rent to
I
own.
don't I don't
It's a whole
see the
bunch of coin
benefits
phrase,
of it
sir.
though. I don't see the benefits of
In
that.
10 years, it will. When it's time to do some maintenance,
So
you're
you're
gonna do
saying
all the
that no
maintenance
seller financing to pass off the maintenance onto the actual tenant.
to pass off the relationship as a landlord. All the duties that come with a landlord.
I
If
understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
like if but that's subjective
Why
to
not just sell the property up front though?
because
Well,
you
not
want to
up
get the
front.
cash flow.
Why not sell it on the back end of the 10 years is what I'm saying. Because if I'm selling
Because
it
the
on the
property is
back
gonna
end,
depreciate in those 10 years.
no, it's gonna appreciate in 10 years.
The property ain't gonna have wear and tear from year one to year 10.
The value of the property is gonna go up in 10 years. It's not gonna go down. Because I
Yeah,
don't
but
build
when you do an appraisal on it and they see that this ain't been renovated since when? 10 years. You're gonna need a new roof. You're gonna need new fixtures after
in
that.
10 years?
In 10 years,
No way.
that's standard to get a new roof in 10 years.
No way.
Unless you kept up on it.
You're not
That's
gonna need a new roof
standard.
in 10 years.
What's
No way.
standard to get a new roof?
Maybe 15 to 20.
That's if you got a good company that did it.
I do.
Well, I mean, you
You
can't
gotta
knock
remember,
them
I'm
if
building
they
them
did the good
brand
work.
new. I'm not buying them turnkey or flipped. I'm building them.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. But in 10 years, you still gonna have some wear and tear on that. That's natural.
True. But then at the same time, I think that the value of the property is still going to appreciate. It's not going to go down. It's going to go up.
The area will appreciate. That's a fact.
Right.
But if you
Right.
built it in year one, if you
You
built it
know.
in year one and it
Right.
appraised at 400 grand,
Right.
year 10, when they do the appraisal, it ain't gonna be at 400 grand.
It's going to be at more than 500 grand.
And then when they hire an inspector to come out there to actually inspect the house and find all this wear and tear, you still gonna get that top dollar for it?
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
100%.
You know they're gonna talk that down.
No way. No way.
They ain't gonna talk that down.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely
I ain't
not.
gonna go on a rant back and forth.
If you maintain the property, see, it's a I think it's a difference between a slumlord and a person that actually maintains the properties. If you maintain the property, you're
Well,
going
you have to. You have to because you're the landlord.
Right.
Now say if you did your same strategy that you do right now, you
Mhm.
build new houses, but instead of being a landlord up front, you seller finance them out.
Yeah,
Through those
the
year
reason
1
why
to
I don't
year
like the
10, you're
seller
not doing no
financing,
maintenance. You ain't got to.
the reason I don't like the seller financing. So we not that far apart, right?
No,
Only
I know
thing that
you.
I'm saying is the difference between seller financing versus selling it outright is that you get 100% of the money up front versus having them pay you in the same way, as though it's almost like they rent it from you, except for they're taking responsibility 100% for the maintenance of the property. So what I'm saying is, why not, if you're going to sell it versus seller financing, why not just get 100% of the money up front and then move it into a different asset?
Okay. Stay there. That's from your perspective. I'm gonna give my scenario of the same seller financing and a real how it actually goes down. They're gonna we got the same property, 400 grand sitting here, brand new. You're gonna what, take a deposit for their rent, right? And all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're gonna move in it, they're gonna pay you $2,500 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same property. I'm seller financing. Coin phrase, forget the terms. You know, I'm just renting them out there and there.
I got you.
They're gonna put a 10 grand deposit down,
Mm-hmm.
20 grand, whatever. That's gonna go towards their purchase price.
Correct.
Now they're gonna be financing. If it was 400 grand, they put 20 down, they're gonna be financing 380.
Correct.
The rates right now,
Because
6%.
you practically play double after you finish paying off the property.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of
I know
course.
you. This for your audience. And,
Yeah,
and some of them probably know that too. So they financing 380 at 5%.
Okay.
You got the down payment down.
Okay.
You got the interest that you're making on that payment. They got a brand new house. They couldn't get. I know this is done with a lot of like shitty properties, but there's a correct way to do it. And I feel like with how you build new properties, man, you could be sitting on 100 of these easy. I mean, easy, and not even have to be thinking about nothing. But anyway, they financing 385%. You're making money off the interest.
Mm-hmm.
And they're paying their monthly payment. You got the down payment, that same money that you took up front, the down payment, all that. You go put that on stocks, whatever, anything you want. Let's roll it into a new investment.
Right.
That's how I would do it, because I don't want to be in a position of landlording, especially if you're doing it out of the country. I do it in many different states.
So basically, you don't like the idea of having to be tied to still have to do stuff for the property. You just want your money.
Yeah, because I started as a private lender. So I started as a private lender. So I never wanted to swing the hammer.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I built a couple properties and did some renovations, but I never wanted to swing the hammer.
Yeah.
So I was like, and that's just a coin phrase for the audience who don't understand what that means.
I know
like,
what you're saying. Yeah.
I did demos and all that. I did all that, man. But like, my father started off building properties when I was young, so that's how I even got into it. But
yep.
I never wanted to swing the hammer, man. I started off as a private lender. Yeah. So we're not off, man. I feel like you be knowing, and I don't like when you don't go into context. You know, you know what you know.
Because it's not for everybody, bro. Like, everybody.
No, it's not. But the ones it is for, they're going to take heed to it. And they're going to be like, oh, let me go see what he's talking about even more. Well, you already know how that go, man.
Yeah, facts.
But you drop them little jewels. I ain't going to keep you that long.
But see, this conversation proves that there's multiple different ways to skin a cat.
100%.
I think that our issue in our culture is that we think it's only one way, or we limit ourselves because we don't have the information and the knowledge. And I think that it's limiting a lot of times, even on these platforms. Like let's just take the show. You rock with me because you know what I'm saying? Essentially, I'm assuming that you know what the real is, right?
I know I'd be probably talking junk in the chat, but I know what
I'm
you know.
with you. I'm with you 100%. But see, the thing about it is, in order to get people even interested to this level of conversation, you got to entertain them in a way. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
You got to talk about shit that's happening in the culture. You got to talk about news. And I love
Put
talking
the
about
Kennedy in the medicine, like you be saying. I know it.
100%,
I know
bro.
it.
But see, when I go into the Patreon, we just get straight to these type of conversations. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I started breaking it down. I show them my contracts. I show them the receipts. I show them the land that I purchased. I can actually, go straight into it because that's what they're there for. Whereas when you're attracting people on these platforms like YouTube and stuff like that, sometimes you got to ease them into it because they babies. They don't know, and they haven't been through it. They haven't built it. They haven't experienced it. So you kind of got to ease them into it before you start to give them the steak. You got to give them the baby food. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit different.
Get you. I feel like when you say it,
I kind of look at it. Let me tell you the way I look at it. Right now, I'm kind of like building up the portfolio even more. Right. Right now I'm close to about 40 occupied. No loans whatsoever. So
are you in one state? That's all in one state?
One state, all in Michigan.
You already conquered your area, man.
But I know the area. I know the area though. Like I know the schools, I know the area, I know, everything that's going on. And I'm tied in with the city council. I'm tied in with the cities. I know which cities that is more difficult to build in. I have really good relationships with the inspectors, being able to pull permits, all of that type of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
so
100%.
It's not speculative. Like if I was to go to a completely different city, which I'm thinking about, actually, I got some cities on the list. It's like building it from scratch and building those relationships from scratch. So
yeah. Nah, you if you're doing it in your area like you're doing it, that's why I feel like I said, I'm not, if your approach is, if you don't mind the landlord and whatever, and like I said, landlord ain't bad, but it's all about the person. Like I said, I didn't want to swing the hammer. I didn't want to have to, and the reason why I did that is because I didn't know at first certain things. So I wanted to learn the curve before I just jump into knowing how to manage tenants and stuff like that. Like I do classes and stuff with a lot of guys that do, they own a lot of doors like you. But my thing is, I'd rather have less doors and more income than more doors and less income.
Well, I'm looking at it from a long-term retirement perspective, right? So essentially, I want to get to the point to where I have 100 properties and generating between $100,000 and $200,000 a month in income, straight income without no mortgages. And so that was kind of the goal.
Easy. You can do that now. You're probably on your way.
Yeah, I can do it now. That was the goal initially, but now I'm starting to pivot into commercial, right? And commercial is a completely different game.
Another animal.
It's a whole nother game. That's what I'm learning. So, but we never stay still. The more that we learn, the more that we grow. And
it's inevitable.
As I learn information, I give it to my bag chasers. I give it to the people, and I'm not a gatekeeper, so I just get the information up to them. So, because I didn't even start building houses until a few years ago. I used to just buy them turnkey and try to get them at a really, really good deal. But then
building is way better. How you doing it now? It's way better.
It is.
It's way better.
It's better in ways that I can't say online. Like I can't say it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. No, that's Patreon shit. Like you said.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
I don't even know if I could say that out loud on Patreon though. Like those is kind of like coaching call type.
And some it'll go over their head. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Now go ahead, do your thing, man. I just wanted to.
I appreciate you for coming up, but thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate you, bro.
You good, man. You good, man.
Email me, man. We need to work together. So I'm gonna email me your information, and then I'm gonna send you my number, and then we can connect offline, bro.
All right, say no more. Anton, 413
Anton
Gmail?
Daniels 413 at gmail.com.
All right, I got you, man.
All right, bro.
All right, cool.
Shout out to Big Dog. But see, again, this is why I told y'all inside of the chat that y'all have to be very, very careful of limiting yourself of information by assuming that people don't know what they're talking about. This is why I'm like, yo, I'm not interested in debating people. I want to see what you know and figure out how I can add value to you. And I want to, you know what I'm saying? I want you to add value to me. And this is what networking look like. Part of networking is also getting you a bag so that you can add value into the group. And then that's what then you can leverage information that other people have, and then they can leverage information that you have. And sometimes y'all work together. I like to, pick the brains of other people that also have been able to do some stuff or work in different industries, or maybe they in different territories, because, iron sharpens iron. But if we always approach it from the perspective and say, oh no, man, you probably broke. Everybody ain't broke. Everybody ain't broke. Everybody ain't in the mud. Everybody ain't trying to figure it out. It's people every day that listen to this show. It's people that's on the Patreon that's got money. And sometimes they got a different way that they approach it, or they got some new information and they want to share that information, right? But we might limit ourselves by saying, oh no, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Let people prove you wrong, or let people show you differently. I assume and I take everybody at face value, and then that's when we go into a different type of conversation. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I kind of call myself a C student. It's because I never want to believe that, I know everything. It's always another level. It's always more to learn. You know what I'm saying? So how's it going, love? Everything good?
Yeah, sparkling.
You need anything from me?
Not right now.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, y'all. Let's get into the next part of the show. I want to talk about this whole Justin Fairfax situation. Let me get that up on the screen real quick. Let me see. Justin. Here we go. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications, y'all. Let me get that off.
Here, following breaking news, police are investigating an apparent murder-suicide at the home of former Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax. Now, according to police, Fairfax shot his wife several times in the basement of their home. He then went to the bedroom and shot and killed himself. CBS News Crime and Safety Unit Anna Schechter joins us now on the phone. So, Anna, this is a heavy story. What are we learning about the investigation?
Well, police have been aware that there were ongoing domestic issues in the house. In fact, I learned this morning that he, former Lieutenant Governor, had called police in January and alleged that he was assaulted by his wife. Police investigated and found those allegations to be untrue. They looked at security cameras in and around the home. So they were aware of this. She had filed for divorce over the summer of 2025. And this was a very messy divorce. That is according to the police chief, who just held a briefing right outside their home. Investigators were working overnight photographing the basement. He shot her multiple times there before running up to the primary bedroom upstairs. And as you mentioned in the intro, both of their teenage children were home. The boy is a little bit older than the girl. He called 911. At first, he believed his mother had been stabbed, and he didn't know where his father was. And he called 911, and they figured out the chain of events. Once they got there, found the bullet casings near her body, and then found him upstairs. Both were pronounced dead in the early hours just before 1 a.m.
If you go back and you actually look at this guy's profile, like if you just look at him in this picture, you would be led to believe that this guy is probably, great career, strong family life, no problems, no issue. People walk in the grocery store, they go shopping, they buy new cars, they do all kind of stuff. And people, you never know, every single day what these people have going on, what they're going through, if they're going through a divorce, if they're going through a situation, if their money is messed up, if they got tax problems. People have no clue what people are dealing with and what they go through on a regular basis. You don't know if they having domestic issues. You don't know if they're having problems with their children. Nothing at all. Lieutenant governor was long rumored to be and expected to be a star in the political spectrum. All of that. All of that. Super Chats got me broke said, this is what you was talking about the Instagram chick. You talking about on Wednesday night? You know, as you get older, you lean more towards your intuition, and you stop ignoring it as much. Like you start to have a better balance on taking what somebody says and just leaving it at that, but also being a lot more cautious as far as making sure that they're not finessing you. I kind of let too much slip as far as saying too much on the Wednesday night. And I was like, you know what? You know, the presentation layer is interesting. I like it. I think that you're good for this and good for that or whatever. But I don't know, because I'm too wise, right? And that's why I say that it takes 40 years to be 40 years old. It takes 50 years to be 50 years old, right? I don't always just look at something and say, oh man, I'm excited for it. In the back of my mind, I'm always mining it out. I'm listening to what people say. I don't just take it at face value. You know what I'm saying? You may get a great presentation layer. And the first thing I ask myself a question about is, let's say for example, that somebody comes up to you or you meet this awesome girl, right? Let's say you meet this awesome woman, or ladies, you can flip it and say you meet this phenomenal man, right? We've seen this play out with this whole Ashley Janae situation. We've seen it play out with Justin Fairfax situation. We hear in a conversation about so many different things all the time. We see women say, oh man, you know, I was able to get a good man and this and that. Or we see guys and they finding this diamond in the rough and she was just so hidden, right? And as you get older, you get wise enough to say, you know what, I like what you're saying, and I'm gonna just let it play out and see what happens. But you don't get too high and you don't get too low. And that's one of the things that my father taught me, is that never get too high and never get too low. That way, you don't get disappointed, right? Because you're creating these great expectations by somebody that'll let you down. But at the same time, you're not removing the possibility of making yourself available to somebody that may be good for you. They may be good for you. They may add value. They may be awesome in a lot of ways. Maybe they're not perfect, but it may be somebody that can add value into your life. On the flip side, though, you don't want to get too high, because you don't really know if the presentation layer is going to hold up to what's really in their core. So you may meet this person and it's like, man, you great, you awesome, you bad, you whatever, so on and so forth. But the wiser me, the older me is like, I like what you look, I like what you're presenting, but let's just see what happens and let it play out. Like if y'all notice, I don't even bring people over to room 9 as quickly as I used to. I don't endorse content creators as much as I used to. I don't let people come up on a panel one time or 2 times or 3 times and then I'm automatically like, all right, listen, I want you to join the crew over there. I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna mine it out. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see what's going on. I'm gonna let it play out. I'm gonna see how often you want to come back. I'm gonna see if you jumping on other people's panels, what you saying, who you really aligning with. Now I gotta wait, because history has taught me, as a person that has helped pioneer some of the things that we're doing on the internet and in these spaces, that maybe everything that glitters is not gold, and you can't let people get too close to you because it may be something completely different than what it presented itself to be, right? Correct. The vetting process is a lot more extensive now. And we're not supposed to be this way. We're supposed to be loving, open, just whatever somebody says, you're supposed to be able to take that at face value. That's how it's supposed to be in life and how it's supposed to be in culture. Unfortunately, that's not the truth, and that's not how we can do things no more, right? You got to let it play out for a longer period of time, and then whatever is supposed to be is going to reveal itself. You know what I'm saying?
Former Lieutenant Governor Justin.
That's why I tell y'all sometimes y'all so be worried about losing a girl or losing a chick, and I say let her go. All you're going to see is the true. If you're afraid of seeing who she truly is, and that's one thing. But if you really want to know who she is, then let her go without you and see how she operates. Just pay attention. That's when you're going to see the real her. Do y'all know when you really see the real person? It's only two situations where you see, really three, but it's like two in a possible. It's two situations or three that you really see somebody for who they truly are. Because when everything is good, everything is always going to be good. When everything is good, everything is good. When all of the money is up, when everything is awesome, when the reputation is great, when you're not getting no pushback, when you don't have no arguments, you don't see anything, everything is always going to be awesome because everybody is in a good space. Right? The question that you have to ask yourself is, how do you organically see something for what it really is? The first and the most simple is when you argue or when you have a disagreement. When you argue or when you have a disagreement, that is the first clue to what somebody is or aren't in your life. It don't even have to be an argument. It could be a disagreement. I've seen people pull the mask down and put it back up real quick because they forgot that they had pulled the mask down a little bit. Oh, my bad. And sometimes with guys, ladies, you'll see them snap. You'll see them snap. You'll see a glimpse of it, and then they'll catch themselves. And when I say snap, it's a different type of snap. It's not the I'm mad at you, girl, why you do that type of snap. It's like, who is that over there? Harpo, who that man? And then they'll hurry up and pull it back up. Don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore the signs. And again, when I'm using this and I say ladies or I say fellas, this is not a man versus woman situation. This is a human thing. It can happen with women. It can happen with men. It can happen with you. It can happen with me. And it can happen with anybody. So this is not this is universal. The presentation layer can be completely different than what the core is of a person.
In Fairfax, shot and killed his wife inside of their home and then shot and killed himself. I think you have the rest of the details that Captain Cosgriff gave earlier this morning. So I'm just going to pause right here and answer any of your questions to the best of my ability right now. I can just tell you, then I'll go to Drew first, that this has been an ongoing domestic dispute surrounding what seems to be a complicated or messy divorce. So, Drew.
And Chief, that was going to be my question. Can you elaborate on what the investigation has revealed about the status of their marriage? Of course, the kids are what everybody's thinking about, I think, too, in this as well.
So far, what we know is probably what you all know, and I don't think it's a secret that there's been divorce proceedings that have been ongoing. From what I understand at this early stage, former Lieutenant Governor Fairfax was recently served some paperwork associated with an upcoming court proceeding that apparently led to this incident last night. Both of their children, teenagers, the boys older than the girl, were in the house when it happened. So that's horrible news for the family. Certainly a traumatic event for those children to live through. But we know that it all kind of culminated last night when Justin Fairfax shot several times, killed his wife, ran to a different part of the home, and then killed himself with the same firearm.
I know you just got on scene, but from your briefing, what do you know about the scene inside? What is it?
So it seems like, and I know I'm competing with some school buses here. It seems like the murder took place in the basement. It's described to me as a unfinished basement in the home. At some point after Justin shot and killed his wife, he runs upstairs in the home and into the primary bedroom, apparently, and shoots and kills himself.
Have you had any previous domestic calls to this location?
So we checked on that. The question is, have we had any previous domestic or calls for service to this location? In January of this year, Mr. Fairfax calls the police and alleges that his wife assaulted him. We responded to that scene. There are several cameras set up inside the house. Apparently, Mrs. Fairfax, at some point during these divorce proceedings, set up a lot of cameras inside the home. We reviewed those cameras, and we corroborated that the alleged assault never occurred. So there was no arrest made. There was a report written, but the allegation that Mr. Fairfax made in January that Mrs. Fairfax assaulted him was proven to be untrue.
It's very sad. It's very, very sad. It really is. This is an unfortunate situation. I wouldn't wish this on anybody, especially with kids involved. And that's the worst part. Y'all had kids. The kids they got to live with this for the rest of their life. Nobody is ever going to come back and check on them and say, hey, what happened with your mom and dad? Do you need any help? Any of that type of stuff. And these kids as teenagers, could you imagine what they going through? Could you imagine the fact that they probably got to get taken out of school, or when they go back to school, everybody is looking at them and stuff like this? Man, it is so sad. So sad. And again, you don't know what people going through in their real life. You have no clue what these people are going through in their real life. Even when it comes to social media, I think that when I came on social media, my slogan was, I live my life like an open book. And I still do that to today. I become more protective. I become a little more calculated, all of that stuff. But my whole slogan coming on to social media was, I live my life like an open book. Even that has been weaponized against us, right? And the reason that has been weaponized against me, which it doesn't affect me, it actually was a benefit and made me much more successful. The reason why it gets weaponized, or why people feel like they can weaponize it, is because the idea, in my opinion, of social media is that the only thing that matters is the presentation, is what you present to people. Why don't people use their real names? Why don't people use their real name? I use my real name. I've always used my real name. I've always shown my life. I've always been very transparent, right or wrong, good or bad, with my life. Two reasons why people don't use their real name is because they understand that could be used against them. It could be used against them, meaning that somebody at some point, even if it's not today, even if it's not tomorrow, it could be 10 years from now, and you can go from 1,000 subscribers to 1 million subscribers, and somebody will say, you just this. Remember 10 years ago when you was this. That's the first way. And the second reason is because we have to protect ourselves, because we've seen that ultimately become something that people want to leverage, right? They could call your job. They could do this. They could do that. And so people hide behind monikers a lot of times because, and the third reason is that the presentation is always supposed to be the thing that's better than the truth. Why do we use filters? Why do we use filters? We use filters because the only thing that matters is the presentation layer. We go surface level. We don't go no deeper than that. But that also creates an environment that gives a false presentation or a false narrative of what life is really like for most people, because most people, and I think that it was either Kay Cooper or Azriel, one of the ladies said it in the chat, life is hard. Life is hard. This guy got this problem. This woman got this problem. This guy got this problem, and this woman got this problem. And this woman is self-conscious again about her weight, and this man is self-conscious about his looks, about the color of his skin. And this woman is self-conscious about the fact that she's a dark-skinned woman, and this woman is self-conscious about the fact that she used to be a hoe. And she don't want to be presented that way no more because that's her past and she don't want nobody to leverage that against her. But everybody keep telling her, oh, no, listen, just be authentically who you are until they get mad at you. And then they're going to say, but I remember when you used to be a hoe, right? And then this guy, he's self-conscious because, I don't know. Pick one. Pick anything, right? It's a million different things that you can come up with that people have problems with in their life or that they've experienced or whatever. Or this guy, maybe he got touched when he was younger, right? And then this girl, she got molested when she was younger. And then this person is self-conscious because they hold it out on campus. And this guy, he don't want to admit that he used to be a simp. And this person is this, and this person is that. And it's like, pick one. Right? The empowering thing is supposed to be, I'm authentic, but you can see my growth. But in order to even live that life, they want you to be humble for the rest of your life. You can't pop your shit. You can't talk. It's Friday. You can't pop your stuff. You can't talk. You can't say, yeah, man, I'm winning, because somebody going to say, nah, you used to be fat. You was a fat girl. Right? They going to use that against you. No, you supposed to be humble forever because no, y'all can't see me because I got money. And they're going to say, but I remember when you was broke. Because it's a weaponization tactic for people that don't like you, even if you don't know why they don't like you. Now, you are supposed to grow and evolve. You could be broke when you're 20, and they want to hold that against you all the way up until you 70. You could be 60 and 70. That could have been 40 years ago. I know people that don't even know people when they was in high school, but people will tell you, you must have been a person in high school that didn't have any girls, right? What is that supposed to mean? You're 40, 50, 60 years old, and people will sit there and say to somebody, you wasn't the man in high school, though. Or you acting like that because you just got money. So wait a minute. Am I supposed to not have money for my entire life? Am I not supposed to be different than I was in high school, even though you don't know what I was like in high school? You see what I'm saying? It's like people put a presentation layer and they hide who they truly are because they're afraid that it could be weaponized and used against them. That's the truth. That is the real thing. That's what's really going on. You need me? You need me?
Nope.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let me know.
We're almost done. It's just she's going to take care of the upstairs and do the floors. I'm going to get this, just sweep the stairs down. I'm finishing the bathroom down there. We're
Okay.
done.
Okay.
The floors, but I do have to vacuum.
Where you vacuuming at?
Just on this rug.
Okay, that's cool.
Is it okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna take that long anyway. So.
Okay.
Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I want to get into this David case. Anton Whiskey Pierre says, Anton, sir, shalom. When you got a good woman able to stand back and be there when needed, you cooking nothing but success. I'm making big moves right now, and the money is growing. Let's go. Shout out to Whiskey Pierre, man. Success to you, bro. Just Christian Black. Shout out to Just Christian Black. AR says, wonder if the haters will clip this convo up. Listen, I'm gonna just be honest with y'all, and I'm gonna keep beating this into y'all every single day. Every single opportunity that I can, I'm gonna beat it into y'all. I'm gonna press this down into y'all soul. We don't care what people want or what they translate or what they decide that they want to pick and choose to. Don't matter. You living, they react to you. It's not the other way around. Remember that. You got to focus 100% of your energy on you. Focus 100% of your energy on success. Focus 100% of your energy on building. You can't build while looking back at people that's chasing you. You got to drive the car 100% forward and up. We don't care. We don't care about a hater. We only care about the bag. E2 says, with seller finance, you avoid capital gains. That's true. That is true. But you also avoid capital gains with debt also. But well, that's a whole nother conversation. What up? Sheesh. What up, Crimson? So you changed your profile picture. All right, I like that. Crimson in the building says, good afternoon, Lord Anton. Peace and blessings. What up, Crim? I call her Creme de la Creme. It's my girl, Creme de la Creme. Black Pill in the building. Shout out to Black Phil Pill in the building. Says, what advice would old school from WJLB give you? I have no idea. No idea. Shout out to Foolish. Shout out to Coco. Shout out to Mason. I remember all of them on WJLB. Shout out to everybody in Detroit, man. Pico Train says, my birthday is tomorrow. Shout out to the Bag Chasers. Aries in the building. Yeah. Happy birthday, big dog. I'm not sure if I'm live streaming tomorrow or if I'm live streaming on Sunday for the Makeup Show and the Millionaire Morning Show. We'll figure it out. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Keep getting these notifications. Let's get to it, y'all.
News, an arrest in the case of Celeste Rivas, the teen girl found in the trunk of a rapper's car.
An assignment editor Mike Rogers is at the desk.
Make sure y'all subscribe to the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, y'all?
Working this story. You've got late information from LAPD, Mike?
Yeah, all of this still coming in here to the newsroom and to the desk. But what we can tell you right now is that the rapper David, whose name is David Burke, has been arrested for the murder of Celeste Rivas. That's according to the Los Angeles Police Department. There is Celeste Rivas. You remember, this is a case that has grabbed headlines and we've been covering for several months now. Rivas's body was found in the back of a Tesla at this Hollywood tow yard. The car was registered to David, the rapper here, and the car was ultimately found out front of his Hollywood Hills home, or a home at least that he was staying at. Now, David has been the center of a grand jury investigation for weeks now. The LAPD confirming tonight they have taken him into custody, and he is being charged in the murder of Celeste Rivas. They say the case will be presented to the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office for filing consideration on Monday. It's unclear tonight what the final tipping point was for the LAPD. This investigation has gone on for a very long time. Remember, we learned through that grand jury court filing that Celeste's body had been dismembered, that her torso was in one bag, the rest of her body was in another bag when it was found inside of his car. The medical examiner never publicly revealing a cause of death after the Los Angeles Police Department went to a judge and got a judge to seal the medical examiner record. So at this point, we still don't know how officially Celeste Rivas died. We don't know what the alleged role is that David played here. But again, we can tell you late word tonight that the Los Angeles Police Department has taken the rapper David into custody for the murder of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas after her body was found in his Tesla in the Hollywood Hills.
That is big news, Mike. Yeah. Thank you.
Major breaking news now. Detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division have arrested singer David Burke for the murder of Celeste Rivas. Burke is being held without bail. The case will be presented to the DA's office on Monday for filing consideration. You may remember, and we've been reporting, Rivas's body was found in the trunk of David's car in September of last year. She was only 14 years old. Again, this breaking news just into our newsroom. We're working to get more information, and we'll continue to follow this story.
We do want to go ahead and bring in now ABC's Alex Stone on the phone to speak more about this case. Alex, you've been following this from the very beginning. What can you tell us as far as this breaking information goes this afternoon?
Well, Mark and Michelle, sources are telling us that this is based off of evidence that the LAPD was able to gather and put together and now is going to be presenting to the LA County DA for a filing decision on Monday. This was not from...
When you see these pictures sometimes, a lot of times of these people, like I'm looking at this girl right now, right? Do y'all ever think that in y'all mind, and maybe it's just me, like what a waste of a soul. What a waste of a human being. What a waste of a person. Like when people put themselves in situations or when people do stuff to other people a lot of times. And I think, hey, man, this person has been on this earth X amount of years, 14 years, 15 years, 16 years, 17 years, 18 years, whatever. And it's like, man, they've been on this earth all of this time. Their parents had to birth them, feed them, clothe them, wash them up, make sure that they're taken care of, brush their hair, put them in school. We've spent countless amount of resources educating these people. They've had to drink water, all of this stuff, whatever, right? Whatever it took to put all of this stuff into this human being. And in an instant, it's taken away. You find them chopped up in multiple different pieces, body parts spread all over, can't even determine a cause of death. And it's like, what was all of that for? Like this was a whole human. They were a breathing, living thing. A breathing, living organism, And that's crazy to me. That is just like to really put into perspective, which is why human life is so precious, to put into perspective how a person can take another person's life just because they get into an argument or they don't like them or it's an issue or y'all going back and forth. I don't want to take your life. I may be mad at you at the moment. I may be passionate about you at the moment. Then this isn't even related to this whole situation or this whole case in general. But in general, there's been a theme of people killing people and women ended up in body bags. And we still talking about whether or not you a high value man or not. And we not talking about whether or not you got good character. Do you care if he cared for you, or is it more important that he got the bag? And I'm not saying that the bag is not important, but I'm also saying that do he care for you? It's two things important. Like you in a lot of instances, you got to have both qualities to qualify, right? You have to actually be good at the job, be a cultural fit, and you have to have a degree to get into the job. Why do we always go with only one quality or only one characteristic or only one criteria for somebody to be able to get into y'all circle? You know what I'm saying? Like, why isn't there more? Why are we not supposed to also have good character? And the signs are there. Y'all see it. Y'all see it. Y'all see it. The signs are there. It's there. Can y'all? All right. So let me ask y'all a question. Because sometimes people rock with people for the wrong reasons and the right reasons. As content creators, right? When you view a content creator and you're observing a person that you like online, take your favorite content creator. It doesn't matter who they are. We're not going to say no names, but let's just take 5 content creators that you watch, right? Can y'all tell based off of who they are and how they present themselves and the way that they talk? Can y'all tell whether they're a good person or not? Or is it only important that they are entertaining? Can you tell? Like, can you tell whether or not they got a good heart? Or do it, at the very least, do it seem like they got a good heart? Or do you just say, you know what? They funny and that's it. Can y'all tell? Because see, it's one thing to troll, it's one thing to make a mistake, it's one thing this and that, but can you tell if they actually care about people or if they care about life? Or is it only based off of entertainment? In general, like, can you tell just from listening to a person talk if they passionate about what they do, or if it's meaningful what they say, or if they can impact people, or if they are an empath or whatever? Can you tell? I feel like I can tell. I feel like I have that level of intuition to be able to tell. Some people saying they can tell, some people saying they can't. Interesting.
Any kind of indictment, we know that the case had gone to a grand jury. It was expected that there might be an indictment coming sometime soon. We were thinking in the last couple of months or in the next few weeks. This was not from that. We are told that this is evidence that they have been compiling going back to when her body was found last September, that now they have reached a point where they believe they have probable cause, and it's gone to the DA.
All right. And so a lot of people want.
There's this thing going around where they were saying something like it's 62 million men. Let me see if I can find it on TikTok. Like 62 million men have went to some kind of thing of raping or something like that. What did it say? This is what it is. I don't know how true this is. Y'all tell me how true this is, all right?
Worldwide attended an online RAPN. 62 million men. 62 million men worldwide attended an online RAPE.
And another thing,
Let me see if I can.
maturing
Black American. 62 million men. 62 million men worldwide attended an online RAPE academy in the month of February alone, where they learned how to assault women without detection, including in their sleep, according to a new CNN investigation. And this is what I want men to start understanding. This is what's scary about men. Not just that 62 million men went to this website for some reason, be it for giggles, for curiosity, for actual information so they can be better predators. No, it's that this idea that 62 million men went to this site and nobody told. It's this idea that men seem to have where it's just one guy running around in circles really, really fast and nobody's doing anything to stop him. No, 62 million men went on that website and you think they didn't tell a single friend? Which means that there are a few options here. Option one, 62 million men went on this site, told a friend, they also went on that site, and it ended there. They got in on it. Another option, 62 million men went on that site, some told a friend, the friend told the authorities did nothing, also terrifying. But realistically, for a lot of them, it's that one of these 62 million men told a friend and the friend did nothing at all. Said, oh my God, bro, that's crazy. And that's the one y'all be like, oh, he's a good guy, he didn't do it, but he knew about it and said nothing.
All right, so I actually found one of the actual news articles that she's talking about. Let me see if I can actually pull that up.
through Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And tragically, there have been several headlines in just the last few days that really remind us, all of us, of how prevalent this issue is, particularly when it comes to violence against women. Tonight, we're going to talk about several news stories over the last 7 days that might be really hard to hear, including a U.S. congressman's alleged sexual assaults of multiple women, a renewed discussion over consent, a former lieutenant governor taking the lives of his wife and his own, and a bombshell investigation by CNN exposing a worldwide ring of men who systemically target and abuse their own wives. And that investigation is the main reason we're talking about all of this tonight. My executive producer, Dylan Dahlberg, and I spoke about this at length. And even though this is going to be extremely disturbing and hard to talk about, tough for a lot of people to hear, it's an important story that really needs to be talked about. Millions of men from all over the world collaborating on ways to drug and abuse the people they swore vows to love and protect, and teaching each other how to do it. The fallout from this investigation spreading like wildfire on social media. So here to unpack some of this for us is Dr. Tracy Stolberg, a marriage.
This is insane. This is absolutely insane. This is insane. What are we living in? What world is this, bro? What world are we living in, yo? That's crazy. It is insane. That is crazy. That is crazy. Let me hear some more about this real quick. Well, hold on. Let me deep dive. 62 million men, CNN investigation. All right. Let's go into it. Warning, this report contains details of sexual assault. Proceed. All right, let me go back up. This is Piotr. He lives in Poland with his wife, who is in her 40s. We're not showing you his face or his real name. At any hour, men from around the world gathered on a Z group to swap advice on drugging, then filming the sexual assault of their partners while unconscious. But for survivors, including 3 who spoke with CNN for this story, the consequences are devastating, exposing a global rape academy. In shocking group chats, men encourage one another to drug and assault their wives and swap tips on getting away with it. It was on a so-called dating website in a chat room called Without Her Knowledge that this person was able to connect with dozens of other men to instigate the rapes of his then wife, Giselle. While drugged unconscious by him, she was raped over 200 times by 70 men, not all of whom could be tracked down by police. The case briefly shone a light on this dark corner of the internet, while Coco, the website involved, was shut down and public attention moved elsewhere. This behavior did not disappear. A month-long CNN as equals investigation has uncovered a hidden online world where the commodification and amplification of sexual violence against women is flourishing. One site, Jesus. Are y'all really visiting a site called Motherless? Who would go to a site called Motherless? It's home to more than 20,000 videos of so-called sleep contents. It's called sleep content. Y'all ever heard of that? Uploaded by users with hundreds of thousands of views. The website, which has around 62 million visits in February alone, and whose core audience is in the United States, described itself as a moral free file host where anything illegal is hosted forever. The legality of the material posted is in serious doubt. The so-called sleep content is categorized using descriptive tags such as passed out and eye check. All right, that's a bit much. It's a bit much for me. That's a bit much for me. Y'all some wild people. And remember this, that every day, there are people walking around, ordering Starbucks, getting DoorDash, at the restaurant, in your offices. Just. I said that a long time ago, bro. I said that I was ready. Listen, the only thing that I'm doing at this point in the world is I'm just enjoying it while it lasts, while at the same time making sure that until it's over, that we making sure that everybody is planning for the future. Like, we want to live a good life while we're here. But if the asteroid was right here, right now, if they said, yo, this is Armageddon, the Lord is coming tomorrow, take me to the king, I'm not even tripping, bro. Oscar, I'm dead serious. I know we joke and stuff like that, but I'm saying that, Mo, bro, evil, you can't stop it. You can limit it. You can arrest people. You can try to stop it. Man, these people are running around doing some of the craziest stuff. We be holding each other accountable for saying words that people get offended by. Oh my God, what did you say? You don't like them? They're stupid. Oh my God, look at them, cancel them. Bro, it's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people every day that's going to motherless. Think about what we just had a conversation about. People are looking, researching, and sharing files on trying to figure out and get away with having their spouse unconsciously assaulted by people that they don't know. Who comes up with such foolishness? How do you even think that through? Like, that's not something that I would ever come. I'm just saying, laying down like, dang, it'd be good to have somebody come in here and get at you unconscious without you knowing. Who comes up with that? And Dog said, keep that blower on you no matter what, ladies. Facts. Facts. 100%. Always. 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 100% of the time. A 100% of the time. We don't need to show nothing. 100% of the time. We don't mess around. We don't slip up. We don't make no mistakes. 100% of the time. Absolutely. We're not playing no games. We're not gonna sit here and talk back and forth with people. We ain't gotta do none of that. You wasn't even looking and you heard the blip. We're not playing no games. These people is out here, and here's the worst part about it. They want to take our guns. So you want to take ours from the people that actually is doing the right thing and is protecting themselves, and you want to let them run around with all of the guns. What we supposed to have? Knives? I ain't showing nothing. What are we supposed to have? Knives? And they want to, and anytime something happened, they want to say, oh man, we need to limit. No. That's one of the reasons why we, listen, there will never be an invasion in the United States of America because we got the Second Amendment. There will never be an invasion in the United States. Yeah, they want us to bring archery back. There will never, ever be an invasion in the United States because we got the Second Amendment. Ain't nobody going for that, big dog. Nobody going for that. Nobody. These people is crazy, bro. Crazy. They passed a gun law in Maryland that's supposed to be something. You ain't got to work. We ain't like that in Michigan. Michigan is a little different. That's one of the reasons why I like this state. Michigan is that we don't have them stringent gun laws like they have in New York, and they keep on passing legislation. The criminals keep on getting more switches. Nah, we not having that. We not having that. Nope. That's we could throw hands, or it could be that other way. We can go in the backyard. We can go right there in that backyard right there, and we could do it the old school way. But ain't nobody. People keep telling me, yeah, man, this person better not ever catch you. I pray that they don't catch me either. And I pray that if they do catch me, that they do the right thing and they have a conversation on how we can solve for the problem and how we can put our differences aside. Because I don't care how big you are. Listen, you could be 7 feet tall. You can't outrun this. And I don't even want to be in that space because everybody, I got them, you got them, we all got them, and ain't nobody walking away just because you tall. Everybody like, what are y'all talking about? Ain't nobody scared of nobody no more. We grown. We all grown. Man, if they grab, what you think, that they gonna grab me by my shirt and do like this and pull me in and hold me accountable? You think that they gonna turn you over and shake the change out of your, man, you will never see tomorrow. What do you think that they gonna do? What, you think that because they tall? Man, if you're not working out for health reasons, then stop working out. Because if you're working out so that you can do something to somebody, it's not gonna go that way no more. That's not how life is. Man, if they run up on you, they gonna do this. They gonna do what? They gonna be doing the Ben 10. How you doing the Ben 10? Let me stop. Shout out to R-Star JR. Detroit versus everybody. How you doing the Ben 10? Walk away. No, you can just leave it at the front door. I can take it out. Oh man. You better be working out for health reasons. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. What you thought that they stopped making guns when they made yours? You thought that they stopped making guns when they made yours? Nah, man, the Second Amendment, I'm a heavy advocate for the Second Amendment. That's another reason why I don't understand why y'all Democrats. I don't understand why y'all Democrats. What do you mean you want to remove everybody's Second Amendment? What do you mean you want to remove everybody's Second Amendment? How can y'all be Democrats, but then you support the fact that you have rights? I don't understand y'all. They want to literally remove. They want to remove. Think about this as a Democrat, y'all, and then we're gonna go. We gonna go into the next thing. They want to remove your right to carry and keep in place birthright citizenship. How? Democrats are for removing your right to carry, but then they want to fight for birthright citizenship to stay in place for illegal migrants. Eric D says, Cap, conservative Dems strongly support. No. Eric. This isn't for the John Fettermans. You've regularly heard me say that I love the John Fettermans. I love when people have reasonable. I'm not tripping on all Democrats. I'm speaking in general terms for the things that they then push as talking points in legislation. Let's take a break. Let's take a quick break.
The mob on top, this bitch forever. The mob on top, this shit forever. Mob on top. Welcome to Get a Bag Records. These niggas crazy, I'll blow this bitch wherever. I love this Quake and I'll pull this shit wherever.
Y'all crazy. Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop. I know Slimmy is watching, and so I gotta not do the Slimmy. I know Slimmy is gonna hold us accountable, so we gotta be careful. Oh man. John Teal said AD burnt out. You was banging that last night? Oh, I mean, you know what? I got this sneaking feeling that we gonna have one of the best streams ever tonight. I don't know why. On After Hours on Room 9. For whatever reason, I have this. We about to move on to the next subject, y'all, because we got to get into the money. We got to get into all of that, right? I have this sneaking suspicion that we're going to have an incredible live stream tonight. I don't know why. I don't even have it planned. I don't have the cover photo or anything like that. I don't know what's gonna happen. I have a sneaking suspicion we're gonna have a good. Yeah, that was hilarious last night. Slimmy kept trying to say that I had my cape on. He called me the Man of Steel. Somebody in the chat was calling me Clark Daniels. You good? All right, well, hold on. Let me make sure that'll take care of y'all. Hold on. Give me a second. Do you want me to They called me Clark Daniels. Slimmy was trying to say that I had my cape on last night. I disagreed with him. He said, I'm the man of steel. I disagreed with him. Yours did too? Yeah. I disagreed with him, but that's neither here nor there. All right, let me see what's going on. Oh, y'all want to go into MAMDANI? Him and Kathy Hochul actually came to a conclusion on how they can figure out how to tax millionaires and billionaires. AD, where's the Clark glasses at the moment? These are the Clark glasses. What's up, Kim and that? What's up? We got to talk about MAMDANI, y'all. So this is the recent, let me show y'all. This is the recent drop that he put on his Instagram, YouTube channel, and everything. Let me show y'all what MAMDANI put up, y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live there. But even so, they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty, since again, they don't actually live here. This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working New Yorkers. Now, it's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city. It'll help fund things like free childcare, cleaner streets, and safer neighborhoods. As mayor, I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city, and some a little bit more than others. Happy Tax Day, New York.
So let me play that again for the people that's in the back, because before I break it down and help you to understand it, I want y'all to understand what's going on. This is the new way that MAMDANI is finding a way to tax people that have money in New York City. So, oh, y'all got it.
Tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live there. But even so, they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty, since again, they don't actually live here. This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working New Yorkers. Now, it's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city. It'll help fund things like free childcare, cleaner streets, and safer neighborhoods. As mayor, I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city, and some a little bit more than others.
All right, so all right, so let me break down what this looks like. But before I do, all right, because this is a lot more complicated than people want to give it credit for. Let me show y'all a couple more clips, and then I'm gonna break it down for y'all.
All right, but first, did Mayor MAMDANI and Governor Hochul find a compromise when it comes to taxing the rich? Welcome back to the 5 o'clock news. I'm Steve Lacey.
And I'm Natasha Verma. It looks like the new plan that both leaders are backing involves taxing the rich, but not the rich who live in New York City full time.
Okay, Fox 5's Morgan McKay is here with the details on exactly who would be taxed. Morgan.
Hey, Steve and Natasha. So it's called a pied-à-terre tax, and it would target people who are not full-time residents and have second homes here in the city. It's been a proposal that's been tossed around for more than 10 years, but this tax could ease some of the pressure off of Governor Kathy Hochul, since Mayor MAMDANI is now claiming this as a win. Governor Hochul today saying she's been pushing for a yearly tax surcharge on second homes in New York City that are worth more than $5 million. But that surcharge will not apply apply if the owner lives there full-time or rents it out to a full-time tenant. But Hochul's proposal comes at a surprising time. The state budget is already 2 weeks late, and this proposal is still lacking details, including the rate for which these second homes will be taxed.
So let me break this down for you guys, all right? So they say that this surcharge wouldn't be implemented if they can rent this out to a full-time tenant. So let's assume for the sake of conversation that you are able to then get around this by saying, all right, guys, I'm going to rent this out to a full-time tenant. In addition to paying property taxes and also paying the fees that come along with actually having the building, HOA fees and whatever, right? The doorman and all of that stuff, right? You also have to find somebody that can afford to lease it out. In this instance, a $235 million penthouse, right? And you have to live in New York full time. So let me break this down from a C student's perspective so y'all really understand it. The reason why Kathy Hochul is pushing back on MAMDANI on taxing the rich is because rich people are choosing to leave New York City, live elsewhere, but it doesn't mean that they still can't do business in New York City. So I'm going to refuse to pay the taxes or to go with this whole tax the rich situation. I'm going to move to Florida. I'm going to move to Tennessee. I'm going to move to Texas. I'm going to take my wealth and I'm going to leave. So Kathy Hochul, especially in an election year, is saying, I don't want to push people to move out of New York City because we're basically eroding the tax base of the people that are paying the majority of the taxes in the city. So if you actually look at and do the research on who pays the most taxes, who covers more than 50% of all taxes, it is people that are a part of the 1%. All right? But these people are not regular New Yorkers. They can pick up and leave. So how do you prevent that from happening? So she said, okay, we see that you, MAMDANI, is completely maniacal, right? You're maniacal. You want to make New York City a socialist city. You want to give free everything, free healthcare, free childcare for illegal migrants, buses, allegedly, right? You want to open up grocery stores, but you're operating at a $7 billion budget deficit. How are you going to do this? Well, he said, all right, well, since we can't just flat out raise taxes and you're not going to go for it because you're in an election year and you're not trying to push out the tax base, which will erode the taxes for the state, I got this new tax, right? And this new tax is, we want to tax people that are using New York City as a tax shelter. Doesn't matter that you're paying property taxes. Doesn't matter any of that type of stuff. What's happening is if you have an additional property, then we are going to put a surcharge in order to tax you, especially if it's above $5 million. Now, what is that supposed to do? That is supposed to, keep you as a principal resident in New York City so that you'll ultimately still be paying New York City taxes. That's why they said it's a second residence. The second thing that it's supposed to do is it is supposed to make open and available and then also push developers to develop housing and to build buildings that are not for the ultra wealthy and rich that ultimately pay the property taxes, but for regular everyday people instead of having a billionaire's row. Because if you look at some of the buildings on Billionaire's Row, the building itself is empty, but it doesn't mean that people don't own the units. And so if you're ultra wealthy or you're ultra rich and you want to continue to increase your net worth by having these assets, but you also want to park your money into something so that it'll make money and appreciate while using it as a tax shelter, what do? You buy property. You buy things in New York City. You hide your money in these places. And you don't have to necessarily just be a New York City resident. But if you're buying New York City real estate, then this will affect you, which is one of the reasons that they're using it and they're leveraging it to make an additional $500,000, right? Because billionaires and millionaires often at times own multiple different properties in New York, or it may be a second residence in New York, but you might be living elsewhere. That's the way that they're able to tax you and take money out of your pocket. So now Now, the question that we have to ask ourselves, because Eric D says he deserves a chance to enact his agenda. Well, it's not that you deserve anything. If the people elected you based off of these principles, then I agree with you that he is not deserving of it. He gets a chance to fight for it because that's what becoming mayor of a New York City is allowing for you to do. You have to then execute on the principles that the people elected you for. Whether I agree with it or I disagree with it, whether Eric agrees with it or he disagrees with it, he now has the opportunity to execute on what he was elected for from the majority of the people. Again, regardless of whether we think that they did it right or wrong, it's not that he deserves the opportunity. He has the opportunity because he was elected mayor, right? Now, we can look from the outside in because you and I, because we don't live in New York City, we have the opportunity to observe from a distance and say, man, this is a hell of an experiment. I wonder what is going on in New York. I wonder if this is going to be successful. This is very interesting because what most millionaires are being reported and billionaires are being reported of doing is that they are picking up they ball and they taking it down to Florida. The other part of what you're saying, Eric, is that if he executes on this agenda, the question that you have to ask yourself is, how will this negatively or positively impact New York City for decades to come? Because usually when billionaires and millionaires pick up and they leave, they don't come back. Or you have decades, could be a half a century before whatever the ramifications fully take effect, and it could be a downward spiral and slope from there. Look at history. I can look at Detroit, right? We can reference white flight from Detroit. We can reference it. Detroit, contrary to popular belief, and people need to really do their research and understand, from then all the way till now is still the blackest city in the United States of America. That is a fact. That is not my opinion. The city was given to black people, especially it was expedited after the 67 riots because the people that could move, moved. And the people that stayed, they endured. And what we found was that you actually need help from other people that wants to see the city succeed. And you can't just do what Chicago was doing today and elect people based off of skin color. Identity politics is wrong. You need the right people, regardless of whether they're black, white, indifferent. You need the right person that has the right agenda to execute successfully, regardless of how we feel about what they look like. You need them to do the thing that's in the best interest of the people. AR says, born in 87, Detroit was pretty bad growing up. Agreed. Agreed. Super Chat's got me broke says, who you voting for in 2028? You talking about in the national election? The point that I'm making is that as they talk about socialism and they basically try to kill any kind of incentive for you to stand out, work extra hard, make sure that you stand out from the crowd, build businesses or whatever, because what they're saying is if you try to get ahead or you try to do what's best for your family and you try to build something, we're going to go ahead and pull you back. Every time I try to leave, people keep pulling me back. I appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much. All right. Y'all take care now.
See you, babe. Every time I try to leave, people keep pulling me back. So basically, they are penalizing success. And they are saying that, listen, if you get any further ahead than everybody else, let me make sure that we even the playing field, because it's not about the choices that you make. It's about whether or not we think that your money can help other people, regardless of whether or not they're doing the right thing with it. It's just the truth. It's the facts. It's the reality of the space that we live in. Equity is measuring people not by their decisions to become successful, but whether or not you got more than somebody else, and we're going to even the playing field by taking more from you and giving it to everybody else, even if they don't do the right thing with it. That is the goal. So MAMDANI is walking around and saying, and this is him saying that socialism can flourish anywhere.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani capped off one of the most impressive rises in modern political history when he was sworn into office in January. The Democratic Socialist became the first Asian American and the first Muslim mayor of New York City. Mamdani is also the city's youngest mayor in more than a century. So how's the mayor doing in his first 100 days? We're going to ask him. But first, we asked New Yorkers for a letter grade. Here's what some of them said.
B plus, A. I think a C plus.
An A. I feel like he's doing an amazing job.
You know, I guess it would be like an A minus, B plus, A minus.
Give him an A. He hasn't done anything too bad yet, and he hasn't done anything too good yet. So I think a C is perfect for him.
A plus.
Mayor Mamdani got a sense of humor, it seems, joins us now. You haven't done anything too bad yet. You haven't done anything too good yet. So we'll give you a grade. How do you think you're doing in your first 100 days?
You know, I'll always leave it to New Yorkers to give me the grade, but I will say that I'm proud of what a team has accomplished over the 100 days. I mean, we saw $1.2 billion secured in a partnership with Governor Hochul to deliver universal childcare in our city. We held bad landlords accountable for $32 million, fixed 6,070 apartments. We filled 102,000 potholes, and we did all of this while also returning $9.3 million back to workers and small businesses that have been ripped off by mega corporations.
Yeah, that's all the good stuff, Mayor, but people will talk about the promises that you made during your campaign. 3 of your signature issues: universal free childcare, freezing city rents, making city buses free. Promises haven't been materialized yet because the rent isn't frozen, the buses aren't free, no universal childcare. And so New Yorkers are saying, you know, it's been 100 days. Why haven't you done it? What do you say to that?
Well,
because your campaign promises were big for a lot of people.
As they should be, because New Yorkers are facing a big crisis of
Yeah.
affordability. So I'll go through one by one. We said that we would deliver universal childcare. On day 8, we announced that agreement with Governor Hochul. For the first time in New York City now, we are delivering universal childcare for 2-year-olds. 2,000 this year, 12,000 next year, every single 2-year-old by the end of year 4. We said we believe that the rent should be frozen for New Yorkers who live in rent-stabilized housing. There's 6 vacancies on the board that determines that. We filled those vacancies. They're going to make their decision. They're an independent board. They'll make that decision this summer. And then we said that we would speed up the slowest buses in America and make them free as well. And we're proud to say that we're already speeding up buses for more than 1 million New Yorkers, putting 6 minutes back in their pockets, which, as you know, in New York City, time is money. And we're working with Albany to make them free. And so what I would say when we look at these 3 main campaign promises is we're seeing the kind of progress we were told was impossible. And we're doing all of it while also accomplishing the same thing that we said we would do before even affordability, which is public safety. And that is a key part of our agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I want to widen the lens a bit. After your campaign win, there were a lot of questions about whether Democrats across the country could have similar success. Do you think it's possible a democratic socialist platform can translate into something that's electorally viable in a statewide election or a national election, given that, according to Gallup, many older and rural voters still have issues with the label socialist?
You know, what I find is that New Yorkers ask me less about how I describe my politics and more about whether my politics includes them. And I think what we can see is that a democratic socialist politics is one that should be judged on its delivery, like any ideology. And what we're showing in this city is we can pursue the big things like universal childcare and do the pothole politics at the same time that we're showing, and not just filling in the potholes, changing the catch basins, but also repaving over 1,000 miles of roadway.
But Mr. Mayor, presidential and statewide elections are often decided in battleground regions that do not look like New York City.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Before I was the mayor, I was an assembly member of Astoria in Long Island City. At that time, I was told that you could only be a democratic socialist in Northwest Queens. Then I became the mayor. Now the next question is the state. Then the next question will be the country. I think that this is a politics that can flourish anywhere because, frankly, there is only one majority in this country. That's the working class. And it's time we have a politics that puts them at the heart of what it is that we're pursuing and not as part of the appendix.
Can we talk about President Trump for just a second?
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm muted. Maybe I was muted for a reason because I was actually giving him a compliment. I have to admit that he's very good. He's very, very good, especially for a person who talks very fast, who smiles a lot, who markets himself as a person that is a socialist, that is pushing an agenda and does not represent, in my opinion, American values. He is incredibly, incredibly good at communicating effectively, marketing himself, staying in the public eye, continuing to advertise what he thinks is best for people. And as a person, because I try to be as objective as possible when I'm giving my perspective, right? Meaning that I stand for Republican conservative values. I believe that the core principle of what made this country great is capitalism, and capitalism can always be modified to be better and more ethical. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we should go away from our values and our core and our freedoms. And part of the freedoms of what we have is if I earn the money, you don't have the right to take it from me. I want smaller government, less taxes, so on and so forth. But he is very slick and very good at marketing himself effectively when it comes to trying to communicate why socialism is good for the people. And in the case of New York City, why he got elected is because he markets himself very good, very, very effectively. We're not going to see the residual effects of what happens to New York until 2 or 3 years after he's been elected and been in politics. And I do believe that he's going to be the mayor for a long time because people like him. And again, he knows how to market himself. He knows how to communicate. He is very straightforward. He has clarity and he smiles a lot. He's good. He's really good. So we're going to have to take a wait and see approach. I have my theory of what's going to happen. But when it comes to getting caught up, being able to debate, communicating effectively and all of that stuff, oh, yes, he's good. He's really great. He's good. Absolutely. And I'm not going to take that away from him at all. No way. I'm no hater. I'm no hater. The people in New York, justifiably, the ones that voted for him, because the majority of them are regular, everyday people that don't know any better, they are getting exactly what they voted for. They getting exactly what they voted for. 100%. We're going to see how it turns out. All right. Time will tell, but he's very good at punching and weaving, counter punching and marketing himself as a person that knows what he's talking about.
And specifically your relationship with President Trump. I think you guys raised a lot of eyebrows and people were like, we weren't expecting that, because both of you seem to enjoy that moment in the Oval Office. What is your relationship with him today? Do you talk to him on a regular basis?
I would say the two of us are in touch. We've had a number of meetings now in the Oval Office, and we are honest, direct about the fact that we have many disagreements. There is one place of agreement that we have, which is that we both love New York City. And that's, I think, something that is at the heart of every conversation we have. It's how can we make this city better? Because both of us have said publicly that the better the city does, the better we feel.
Were you surprised that the two of you seemed to get along well? Because most people thought, no way these two are going to work. No way.
I think in many ways it's a New York story of people who have vehemently differing views and have said many things about each other.
Somebody says, you summarized it perfectly. David, the entrepreneur, you said, I think he's good, but the politics won't pan out in the long run. $30 million state-ran grocery store. We have case studies in socialist countries of this doesn't work. Well, that's true. I agree with you. The problem with people is that they're easily marketed to. So I'm able to separate how good he is as far as how he communicate and market himself from the policy. That's why I say that we'll wait and see what the policy. He hasn't been in office long enough and implemented enough policy for us to see the residual effects of it, right? So we'll get there. You can't judge a person by their policy until you see the effects of the policy itself. Unfortunately, in my opinion, for New York City, they're going to find out the hard way. Separately from that, how you market yourself to be in a position of power is a completely different energy, right? How you communicate the message. This could be applicable. The reason why I want to separate him from his policy is because A, again, it takes a while for you to see what that pans out to be. And B, there is something to be learned from how he markets himself. Absolutely. He is probably the best example of how young people need to be, how to engage young people to get involved in politics and how to market yourself using social media effectively and having a ground up campaign to get people involved in what you got going on. 100%. Out of the box, using social media more effectively, not going along with the campaigns that the Democrat Party is pushing out. And he continues to go on these meetings. He's just as visible as Trump is, but on a much lower level as far as New York City is concerned. He goes on Good Morning America. He goes on CBS Mornings. He's dropping YouTube videos on a regular basis. He's continuing to push the narrative, push the envelope. He's very much in your face. He always got an opinion on anything worldwide that ain't even related to New York City. He is absolutely doing exactly what he's supposed to do from a marketing perspective. He's doing what he's supposed to do. What does Trump do? Trump was the whole time after the 2020 election. What do we see Trump doing? He was in the media. He was talking. He was having commentary. He was commenting on, criticizing what was going on, stayed in front of the camera. Trump never stopped running for president, even after he lost in 2000. Well, the election was stolen from him, in my opinion. Trump never stopped marketing himself as far as whether or not he should be president or not after 2020. Cameras is the new currency. I've been telling y'all this for the last 7 years. The camera is the new currency. When I was using my YouTube channel to get more visibility in corporate America, that's the thing that helped me go up in corporate America. The camera is the currency now. That's why I be telling y'all got to refine your social media, go on Instagram, curate your pictures, be a little bit more careful, wipe your camera off when you're taking your picture, all of that stuff. He's marketing himself to New York City, which is going to be difficult for any other candidate that comes and tries to challenge him for the mantle. It's just the facts.
And can also still work together on the points of agreement.
You have vehemently different views on the war in Iran.
Absolutely. I'm deeply opposed to the war. I think it's something that should be opposed not just on a political level or an economic level, but frankly, a moral level. We're talking about spending close to $30 billion to kill thousands of people an ocean away while we're...
Look, he's still commenting on stuff that ain't even got nothing to do with New York.
Told that we don't have even an ounce of that money to help working class Americans across this country.
Have you spoken to him specifically about that?
It's no secret of how I feel about the Iran war. The president and I are very honest about those disagreements. And
so the answer is no, he hasn't spoken to him specifically, but look at what he says to spin the narrative. It's no secret that the president knows how I feel about that. He didn't say, yep, I spoke to him. He says, it's no secret where I stand on this issue. He never says no. Come on, man. Y'all not listening to what's going on. He never says no. Listen to how he answers it. I say this to y'all all the time. Learn how to stop saying no and learn how to move a little bit differently in how you communicate. Listen to what he says.
Have you spoken to him specifically about that?
It's no secret of how I feel about the Iran war. The president and I are very honest about those disagreements, and I'll give you another example.
But I know it's no secret that how you feel because you've told us, but have you two had a conversation about that specific issue?
Good job, Gail. Gail gets it. Gail is dialing in, and she said, listen, because she's been doing this long enough to be able to see how you spinning it, young man, right? A less seasoned journalist or a less seasoned interviewer, that would have went over your head. Gail is able to see through it the same way that I just communicated to y'all, and Gail caught it. She says, wait a minute. I get it that everybody knows where you stand. Did you tell him that directly? This is what we need in our journalism. Good job, Gail. I haven't seen this. I'm literally reacting to this in real time.
We've had a conversation about a number of issues, and that includes our disagreements on foreign policy.
Look at how this guy is good. He didn't say yes or no. He never says no. He never says no. He always says, he nods in agreement as though he's saying yes. And he's saying, we've had a number of conversations about foreign policy. This guy is good. That's what I keep telling y'all. This guy is good. He is not. And see, he knows that usually, especially on these national platforms like CBS Mornings, they never press the issue 2 and 3 times. They not like Jesse Lee Peterson. Jesse Lee Peterson will stand there and say it 1,000 times until you give him the answer. But did you get it? But does can a man have a baby? No, I understand what you said, but can a man have a baby? I know you want to change the subject, but can a man have a baby? Wow, beta male. But can a man have a baby? No. But can a man have a baby? I know what you said over there, but what I'm saying is, right? Why are you running? Why are you running? Beta, why are you running? Why you leave? You want to come back and have a conversation? No, I'm right here. We got a conversation. So you leaving? Why you leaving? Better Mel leaving the building. So people like Jesse Lee Peterson will ask you 17 times until you say yes or no with the question or you run out. Most national platforms will press you, but they don't want to stay close on that issue because they know they got a time slot and they got to move on to the next question, right? So whereas Gail caught it, she's not going to press him because she don't want to make it uncomfortable for him. And she got to get to the next question. And she want to make sure that she maintains a relationship with the guests.
And I'll keep the frequency and the nature of those conversations.
Why am I on the spectrum? So wait a minute. I'm on the spectrum? Why am I on the spectrum? I'm on the spectrum? Why am I on the spectrum? All right, cool. I'm on the spectrum. You got it.
Because that's
that's what he do. Okay, wait a minute. Let me show you. I got to show it to you.
I'm a male sitting here in front of you.
No, but what do you feel like?
I feel like a male, and I'm not changing, or I'm not becoming something else. I am who I am.
Just before we started the show, you said that you introduced your is he your husband or your wife? Is that your husband? He gonna be your husband or your wife?
I'm gonna end this interview.
Why?
Because we're ending this right now.
Why you want to end?
We're ending it.
Well, wait, come back.
Take this off. When you want to have a real conversation, call me. No, you're bullshitting me.
Come back.
I'm not gonna be a part of that. Come take this off of me, or I'm gonna take it with me.
But why are you running?
Come take this off of me, or I'm gonna take it with me. Please take it off of me.
Really,
you're disrespecting me.
But no, I'm asking you really.
Please take it off.
Am I asking him a real serious question?
No, I'm saying just let me take their recording. Just trying to get a reaction. What's that?
It's okay.
Be quiet.
No, that's not what
okay.
we're doing.
So
just take it off.
Yeah.
But tell me why you're running.
I'm not running, sir. But when you want to have a real conversation, you have my information.
But you
call
said
me.
that you were gonna.
When you want to have a real conversation,
You said
when
that
you want to have a real conversation,
You said you gonna marry this guy.
When you want to have, he's a guy. You're calling him a female. You're being disrespectful.
I asked if you gonna call him husband or wife. Come back. Do you want to be interviewed? Amazing. Well, they gone. That's amazing. They gone. They walked away. So the deal is that was.
How can y'all not like Jesse Lee Peterson? Jesse Lee Peterson is hilarious, bro. He is hilarious. I'm not on a spectrum. I think that Jesse Lee Peterson is funny because people regularly, they get mad and they be like, all right, take this off of me. He'd be like, why you running? Why you running? Amazing. Better. Oh, man. I love this show. I love this show. Oh, shoot. Make sure you guys hit a like for that. I think that Jesse Lee Peterson is the person that changed, that planted the seed that ultimately changed Amber Rose's mind. Jesse Lee Peterson was the person that was like, so are they a slut? Are they sluts? And she was like, no. Are men sluts? And she was like, no. They're slut makers. Oh, man. That is so funny, bro. Shout out to Jesse Lee Peterson. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. What up to P. Shank? P. Shank says, good morning, Anton Daniels in the Millionaire Morning Show. What up, P? Pushing P. Hold on, let me pay my cleaner real quick. A second. I got you. Pay my cleaners. Mr. Joe says, I paid my car note off without liquidating my stocks like you advised. I'm debt free again. Now, here's the key is to stay that way. Don't put yourself in a situation for a second and third time. Thank you and God bless. You're welcome, my friend. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. That is literally pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Joe. Says, AR's back says, is that why they call it a sacrifice? Charles Watson says, salute AD in the back chasers. What happened to Nancy Guthrie? Did they pay the ransom? Yeah. She got back. Y'all remember that? You be right. Time just goes on and you'll be forgotten. Yeah, she went back. She wound up being on going back on the TV. Nobody cares though. After the initial story goes on, nobody cares and they move on. Chase Barnes says, happy Friday, AD and peeps. What up to my dog, Chase Barnes? It has been an unforgiving week for men. My God, yeah, it's been a rough week for guys. The guys caught a lot of L's this week. We're going to go ahead and take our L's. That's why I'm so supportive of y'all. Slimmy likes to say that I'm the man of steel, that I got my cape on. No, it's Love on the Women Week. Women's Appreciation Love on the Women Week. That's what I call it. It's Love on the Women, Women's Appreciation Week. All right. We got to protect our ladies. They've had a rough week of guys taking them out, killing them, chopping them up, getting arrested for killing women. Come on, man. We got to protect our ladies, bro. We love the ladies. We love our ladies. You're calling me the Cape Crusader. How am I wrong that we need to protect our women? So wait a minute. Y'all want all of the women to be killed off or something? So what we gonna do if we ain't got no women? What we gonna do if we ain't got no ladies? So y'all just wait. Hold on. Listen, this is my sentiment. All right. We hold women accountable, and there's nothing wrong with holding women accountable, but sometimes it gets a little bit too much. All right. So you got to pull back. If you always going off on your girl or you always holding her accountable, she not going to feel like you love her. And so you got to pull back, and you also got, like, even if you're dealing with a child, you can't just beat on them. You can't, because then it's going to be abuse. If you don't love your child and you don't let them know, hey, I'm disciplining you for this reason, but I also want to let you know I love you and I want to show you some love and let me take you out to go get some ice cream, then they're going to be like, man, my dad was just abusive. He was Joe Jackson. The women, real talk, the women haven't had a rough week. I don't think there's no way that we can sit here and say, all right, hold on, y'all. Let's back up for a minute and then let's show the ladies some love. Shoot. Between Justin Fairfax, Eric Swalwell, David, the David singer. What's her name? Janae, whatever. Ashley Janae. Dog. You got to, hold on. We got to slow down for a second and say, all right, hold on, ladies. I got your back. It's been one of the roughest weeks that I've ever seen. Back to back stories. We ain't had no break. No break at all. On the ladies. And it ain't even been like, yo, they just bad. No, they've been getting killed. We even did frame fights for toxic. Maybe that's what set it off. I blame Slimmy. Yo. I blame Slimmy. Slimmy set this week off with Toxic Masculinity Week. We did a film review. We did What's Love Got to Do with It. We had Why Do Fools Fall in Love? And whatever. This is all Slimmy. This is all Slimmy's fault, bro. This is Slimmy's fault. Slimmy started this week off, and then we went straight down. We went straight down the razor blade into the alcohol river. Even the name of the flyer was called Toxic Masculinity Week. Look at this. It was literally called Toxic Masculinity Week. Before we get to the next segment, this was the flyer. Toxic Masculinity Week. So we gotta. Slimmy made this flyer, so we gotta pull back. I'm just saying. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. And they want to call me the Cape Crusader because I'm showing a lady some love. Because I hug we got a great relationship, me and my cleaner. She come to all of my properties. She come to take care of all my stuff. I love. She said, I can't have a hug. Yes, you can have a hug. You know what I'm saying? Got to show the lady some love. Eat the cake, anime. Eat the cake, anime. Next thing you know, we're going to be watching Color Purple. I don't want to go into the Vlad Boosie thing because I don't really like talking about Vlad. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like talking about Vlad. Let me see what else we got going on out here. Got lots to choose from though. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. All right. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I know exactly what I want to talk about. I'm going to read the rest of the super chats. Well, let me read the super chats now. Shout out to my dog, Chase Barnes, says, it has, bro. Unforgiving for the men. Missed a lot. My dog in the building says, I'll be damned if I get pulled out of my car by my comb over. Facts. You're missing context on the site story, says Rod Wiltz. Emma? Teacup says they want to disarm us so they can run America like Iran. I'm not ever giving up my guns, ever. Man, I got some heat for you. Country Boy Finesse says, what's up, Unc? Sending you flowers, need that call. What up, my dog, Country Boy Finesse? You know I'm working through these calls. Johnny Mac says, I heard that sound from across my warehouse, and I'm here by myself. I thought I was going to have to deal with somebody. Yes, a lot of people don't even know how to handle guns. Like, they don't know where the safety is. They don't know how to pull it out. They don't know how to make sure that they want in the chamber. They don't know none of that stuff. Who win in Golden State versus Phoenix, Charlotte versus Orlando? I'm taking Charlotte, and I'm going to also take Golden State. Charlotte, Golden State. I think that the league wants to see Charlotte and Golden State. They don't want to see Phoenix and Orlando right now. They want to get the most out of Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and they want LaMelo Ball to ascend. He's very entertaining. I'm going to take Charlotte, and I'm going to take Golden State. I don't think that is it Paulo Banchero? I like him as a player. I don't think he's ready for that next step yet. You know what's so funny? I think he was in the same draft as Cade Cunningham. And a lot of people was questioning it and was like, man, I don't know if y'all should take Cade over Paolo. Let me see. Cade draft class. Who was took in number 2? Oh, it was Jalen Green. It wasn't Paulo. It was Jalen Green. Some people were saying that we should have took Jalen Green or Evan Mobley. And I was like, man, are y'all crazy? Cade was the clear, man, we would have rioted in Detroit if we didn't draft Cade. I was actually at Little Caesars Arena during that draft. It wasn't Paulo, it was Cade. It was Jalen Green. And people was on edge because, we can't take another Darko. We was unwilling to take another Darko. And Jalen Green was actually kind of flourishing while Cade was injured and while we was having a worse season. And some people was questioning like, man, maybe we should have took Jalen. And I was like, man, don't ever say that. That's blasphemy here in Detroit. But again, you got to play the long game. And we got the better coach, JB Bickerstaff. I know Slimmy don't like that. I'm seriously going to start. When I get back from Brazil, this is Brazil. This is what he did. That's what Vin Diesel did when he was talking to The Rock. I don't think you know where you at. This is Brazil. And everybody pulled out their guns. Hold on, boss. Let's pull back, boss. Not today. Ludacris was under the truck putting up a planning device. This is Brazil. Hold on, boss. Let's pull back. And The Rock was still seething at the mouth. He was foaming at the mouth because he really wanted a piece of Vin Diesel. See you soon, Toretto. So that was what was happening. You know what I'm saying? Ignore my whole movie culture references and things that I'm talking about and all of that. Somebody said I might be on a spectrum. I see you soon, Toretto. Oh, man. See you soon, Toretto. Curtis Taylor says they can skirt this by renting it to family. Mama says, thank you for your show. I just put in an offer on a house. Shout out to my girl or my dog, Mama. You welcome, love. Tony Esquire says NYC is employing an economic bell curve, not a good plan. Successful people are smart and by default will find another way to keep their money. That's true. It always gets passed on to the middle class. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to market it like they're really taxing rich people. T.S. Car Wash and Detail Service says he's a professional question dodger. Facts. Chris Cunningham says he's the Indian Obama. AR's back says these Democratic mayors are scary work. I pray Mary Sheffield does well by Detroit. Black women mayors have a pretty infamous track record. Chris Cunningham says, come back. More I like fly says, what about the blacks? What about the blacks? Saquon says, why does Slimmy hate women so much? I don't think that Slimmy hates women. I think that Slimmy is a throwback guy. And a lot of people don't get it, like, because they don't. Slimmy could have thrived in any era. Slimmy would have been the man in the 60s and the 70s. Pimp named Slimmy. If Slimmy was 33, 37, 40 in 1970, Slimmy would have been crushing it out there in them streets. You know what I'm saying? He's a throwback guy. I honestly believe that Slimmy is existing in the wrong era. He just exists in the wrong era. Slimmy is probably supposed to have been born in like the 40s and the 50s. Slimmy was not supposed to be born in the 80s. He was supposed to be born in the 40s and the 50s. And if he was born in the 40s and the 50s, man, that nigga might have been famous already outside of room 9. Yeah, because if he was born in the 40s and then in the 70s, he would have been in his 30s, and in the 80s, he would have been in his 40s, then he would have been he know it. He would have been running the game. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that me and Slimmy talk in real life, it would have been more accepted in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, they be like, like, dang, what you mean shut up? But shut up was acceptable in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? He would have been in the Temptations. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Slimmy would have been David Ruffin, that is. Shout out to my dog Saquon. TS Car Wash and Detail Service says, you saw Rick Ross Miami Mansion on Famous House? I didn't. Saquon says, by the way, happy belated birthday, big up. Thank you, big dog. I appreciate you. Landlord from Alabama. Thank you, Saquon. I do appreciate you, bro. You really are a helpful person. Slimmy would have been Cuddy. That's true. Landlord, that's my favorite character of all time. Landlord from Alabama says, I never heard your take on Wemby. What do you mean? I think that Wemby is going to be exceptional. As long as he can stay healthy, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. I want to jump into this last conversation before we get up out of here. I know it's Friday, and I know y'all ready to go ahead and break out because you about to leave work, and it's 1:54 Eastern Standard Time. But I want to get into this last conversation, and I had a choice of whether I wanted to talk about Live Nation. I don't want to talk about the Live Nation lawsuit. I talked about that yesterday on the regular Anton Daniels channel. I want to talk about this last thing. I want to talk about Spirit Airlines. All right. Bag chasers. I told y'all never to invest in the hospitality industry. Never invest in the travel industry. Never invest in any of these industries that are volatile and are dependent on the economy to be perfect in order for them to thrive. Spirit Airlines, a lot of people are saying that they will be broke by the end of next week. End of this week, end of next week. If you have a ticket at Spirit Airlines, you might want to get a refund immediately. And I also think that Frontier is going to be right behind them. I've been talking to y'all about this for a long time. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
At noon, the future of Spirit Airlines is up in the air and rising fuel costs may be to blame. Good afternoon, I'm Nasha Sherman. The airline filed for bankruptcy last year, but now it may be running out of time. And with summer travel just around the corner, the news is leaving passengers on edge. CBS News Miami's Ted Scouten is your reporter in Dania Beach at Spirit headquarters with the latest. Ted.
Yeah, Naja, lots of chatter out there today about what's next for Spirit Airlines. We're here at the headquarters in Dania Beach. They're keeping very quiet so far. Take a look at some video here. Multiple news outlets, including the Wall Street Journal, are reporting that Spirit could dissolve as early as this week. The airline has filed for bankruptcy twice last year. To lower costs, Spirit cut routes and got rid of some planes, hoping to emerge as a smaller yet stronger airline. But the spike in fuel prices is now in play here.
An airline like Spirit, who's already suffering from losses in terms of higher costs, whether it relates to labor and aircraft maintenance and things like that, adding in this fuel crisis could be the dagger to Spirit's kind of emerging from bankruptcy.
We were pushing Spirit Airlines for more information. This morning, the airline did release a very brief statement saying we don't comment on market rumors and speculation. Now, a source told CBS News that some creditors are concerned that they won't be able to make their debt payment. So that's looming large as well. Coming up at 5, we'll take a look at what passengers need to know coming up. Live in Dania Beach, Ted Scouten, CBS News Miami.
For more on reports that Spirit Airlines could go under, CBS News senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve joins us from Houston this morning. Chris, give us the latest. What's happening?
Good morning. So Spirit, if you are flying them today, they are still operating. Things are going as normal here at the Houston airport. The airline is still accepting reservations, and people we have talked to at the airline say they have no indication that that's going to change. But we have also learned that at least some of Spirit's creditors may have their doubts.
Aaron and Danielle Katzoff rely on Spirit Airlines and its low fares for their monthly work travel. Trips that could cost them a lot more if the discount carrier gets grounded.
You're talking the difference of $1,000 a month easily, potentially, in airfare. That certainly eats into your bottom line.
They live in Atlantic City, but have a business in Florida and have been concerned since Spirit entered its second bankruptcy in a year last summer, leaving its future uncertain.
Well, my heart sank because it's so convenient for us to fly Spirit to West Palm.
Spirit has cut routes and costs in part by shrinking its fleet. The airline had more than 200 jets when it filed for bankruptcy last August and planned to have around 80 by the third quarter of this year.
Listen, I had already been telling y'all and preparing y'all for Spirit's bankruptcy. Again, I think that Frontier is not too far behind. If y'all remember last year, and this is the second time that they actually filed for bankruptcy, they don't really have a plan to exit from bankruptcy. They're not trying to reorganize their debt anymore. At this point, they really just cash poor, and they can't borrow any more money. The creditors are at this point trying to figure out if they even gonna get paid. They probably just gonna have to write that down and take their L. I think that Spirit ultimately is going to fold. If you are an employee that works for Spirit, you should have been looking for another job a long time ago. Don't wait until the company closes its doors on you for you to close your doors on the company. It might be time for y'all to move on. Obviously, it's time for y'all to move on. Now they're reporting that Spirit Airlines could possibly go broke all the way, even in bankruptcy, by the end of the week, by the end of this week, or possibly early next week. So if you have a flight booked on Spirit, I would not take the chance, right? Because a lot of people like to plan further out, and they like to try to figure out how to get there as cheap as possible. If you have a flight booked on Spirit, I would be trying to get a refund as soon as possible. Not a credit, as soon as possible. I expect next week for me to be reporting to y'all that Spirit has officially gone out of business. And if I'm wrong about that, then I can't be more than a week off. They're actually not commenting at all. And I think that less airlines, not less competition, but less airlines is probably going to be beneficial to the industry. A lot of people had realized by the time they start actually throwing on the fees that comes with baggage and all of this other stuff, that you pretty much paying the same price as if you was to book from another airline anyway. Frontier kind of sort of had the same model, and the fact that they were trying to merge with Spirit, which I think that the goal for them from the merging was not only to try to limit and cut costs while increasing a customer base. So basically merging, and again, y'all know I like to call it synergies, but basically merging technologies so that they can ultimately spin one off and then make sure that they saddle one of them with debt, right? Because Spirit or Frontier or both was going to fail. How can you acquire assets from one and spin off debt and obligations while then being able to survive? Well, you probably go through a merger and then you saddle, or you know, you spin off one entity and you push debt onto one of them while you then start to have the other one thrive and then be able to run it up like that. So I think that ultimately they were going to die anyway. Get your refunds ASAP. And for the passport bros, I know some of y'all like to take a cheap flight from Spirit over to the Dominican Republic. Your cost is going to go up a little bit more. Your cost is going to go up a little bit more, right? Because they had already started cutting flights and you know, paths to different places because that weren't profitable. And again, a lot of these airlines, they are saddled with debt. They're saddled with debt. It's so much debt in the hospitality, airline, hotel industries. The smart ones have learned how to license a brand that they've built so that they can run up a bag. But it's so much debt in these places that it's hard for these places to even survive. Once one thing happens and they try to say, well, it's because of gas. Bro, if you were 1 week away or 2 weeks away or a month away from gas prices going up to where it completely collapsed your business was already in collapse. It was already dead. Walk on Wood says, 80, what are your thoughts on United and American Airlines possible merger? I haven't heard anything about a possible merger, but let's assume for the sake of conversation that it's a possible merger is so that they can try to save money. It's all anytime that a company merges, it's always a money-saving technique. It's a money-saving technique. It's a way for them to absorb a customer base while spinning off workers and trying to do less with more, right? If I can use my core company or my technology base to ultimately still service and not have to pay all of these employees. Most of the time when you think merger, think layoffs. Industries love layoffs, but when you think mergers, think layoffs. We don't need as many people to do the same thing that we've been doing if we leverage the technology to do both of them, right? If let's say, for example, because I've been through bank mergers before, right? And let's say when I was working at Flagstar, we had a merger. Technically, it was a buying, but it was a merger of New York Community Bank and Flagstar Bank, right? And usually the first thing that happens with a merger is they try to save themselves and or they want to absorb your business. So you may be doing something incredibly well, right? Let's say, for example, warehouse mortgages, or they like your servicing industry, or maybe they're good at servicing and this good at they do mortgages, right? So usually what will happen is they'll say, well, we can use our headquarters and our employees to service more customers and just absorb your business while at the same time getting rid of the additional costs that it took for you to run your business. That's why mergers are good. Mergers is an absorbing of a customer base. But when you absorb a customer base, which obviously no company is ever going to say, well, we want to do layoffs, that's why we want to merge. They're going to say, what is the key word? We have synergies, meaning that we have an overlapping of workers doing some of the same things. So we don't need as many of y'all to do this when we can use these same people in order to service the amount of customers that we got. We already got our systems. We already got our processes. We already got our culture in place. Now we can absorb your customers. We can absorb what your business is or different parts of your business models, sell off another part of it, right? Because then Mr. Cooper, a lot of people understand Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper is a mortgage company. When Flagstar merged with New York Community Bank, we then sold off the part that New York Community Bank felt like they didn't need or they didn't want or wasn't as profitable, and they sold off part of that business over to Mr. Cooper. And that's how you then get one company and then another company absorb another portion of the company, and then you don't need as many workers. Redundancy, correct. Or redundancy can be referred to in a lot of different ways. Sometimes redundancy is we're duplicating the process to protect our assets. So let's say, for example, you have servers here and then you got servers over there and then you got servers all the way in a different place. Well, if one place goes down, then we've duplicated the process and redundancy so we don't lose anything. If they hack over here, then we have this over here and we have this over here. So unless you're hitting all three places at the same time, we've created a space to where we can protect our assets, right? That is what redundancy is. But redundancy can also be that we have overlapping workers or people that do things that we don't need. We got too many customer service agents over here, and we got too many customer services agents that's doing something over here, and so we don't need both of them. We got a UX practice over here. We got a UX practice over there. We don't need both of them. We got managers that are servicing this over here and managers that are servicing this over here. We got too many middlemen. We don't need as many managers. We need just as many workers because we have just as much work, but we don't need that redundancy over here, right? So when you hear merger, automatically think layoffs, because a lot of times the first thing that people say is, am I safe? Is my job safe? What does that mean for us? They're looking for assurances from their managers to tell them, hey, listen, you're going to be fine. The managers are going to communicate to you what their managers are telling them. So they're going to tell you, hey, listen, don't worry about it. I'm going to fight for you. They don't even know if they're going to keep their jobs. They don't even know. They just middlemen. They don't know if they're going to keep their jobs or not. They're in the same space as everybody else, right? You can hope to get a severance package. You can hope to be saved. In my opinion, I think you need to start working on getting another job. That's my opinion. So if you are a fan of Spirit Airlines, you can be a fan in Spirit, because the airline itself is actually going out of business. It's been going out of business. And, if the workers have not been trying to find additional work or trying to boost up a side hustle, side businesses, they education level to go and get into a different industry, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that Spirit is going to survive, and I think that Frontier is next. So I've been telling y'all this for a long time. And should you invest in airlines? We talk about this inside of the Patreon all the time. I tell y'all and show y'all why not. The answer is a definitive no. All right, it's definitively no. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. It's been a good show. It's been a good show. After Hours is tonight, and we live streaming this weekend on the Millionaire Morning Show. AD gonna start seeing Dusty's in the Delta Lounge. I don't think so. I don't think so. There's so many other airlines, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I have fun though. We talk about so many different things. Shout out to Big Homie for coming up on the platform earlier in the show so we can discuss real estate. Good stuff, good stuff. And remember, focus on what you got going on, not what everybody else is saying about you, because they chasing you, not the other way around. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all tonight. Peace.